I'm looking outside my window. I try to see where my life goes. I just don't know how it slips out. There must be some kind of black hole in this house. Every person could be you though. A pretty guy with a halo. But who am I kidding, please now? I gotta realize that you have fallen down. So I take my chances tonight. I gotta choose fight instead of flight.
What's going on, champions? My name is, of course, Hi-Rez Fox. Welcome to the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup number 25. Last week, with a myriad of technical difficulties, we had the finals of the month of September come to a close. We're into a brand new month of open bracket cups. Also running alongside the Paladins Premier League. And just a quick update about that. PPL teams are no longer eligible to compete in the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. So if you're looking at this cup wondering if this is a good place to get started with competitive Paladins, but you're worried about bracket gatekeepers and maybe facing the best right off the very get-go, not a problem anymore. And as a result, we'll be kicking the broadcast off from the semi-finals this week into the best of 3 match formats, and the teams which will be competing, well, you can find them out if you're watching at home using the command !bracket, and that's in Twitch chat. If you're watching on YouTube, check the video description for those details. Those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup is a monthly repeating circuit of open bracket qualifying cups, followed by a monthly finals on the last Thursday of every month. Broadcast is now happening on a Friday, not a Thursday, folks, so make sure you are updating your calendars. If you want to keep this locked down, you can find the details in the streaming schedule on the Paladins game Twitch page as well. All details have been updated. But regardless, this is the very first of the October qualifying cups. Now, what this means is that teams will be going to be eligible to compete during this month for cash and in-game prizing in every single qualifier cup, but also Go4 points. And the Go4 points are important here because those are what add up in your standings. And the top 8 teams by the cumulative standings at the end of the month are invited to the monthly finals, which has a larger cash prize pool for teams to compete in. So it's a great way to get yourself started off in the realm of competitive Paladins if you're interested. Now, talking of teams, the first team that will be coming up on your screens today, well, you've seen the names before, but there has been a bit of a roster change, and I want to walk you through that very quickly right now.
I saw the stars within your eyes a year ago, and I say I won't leave, just a smile and I am down below, and I try to breathe, call you 7:22 a.m., not the tone of your voice in the morning. I'm falling in love with you. Send me a light to reach for love. When I think of you, I know the feeling. Dim the lights and let's hide for the weekend. I'm the only one you want. I'm the only one you want.
Well, as they say at Champions, second time is hopefully the charm. So, going back to what we were talking about roster changes and, well, organization pickups. As Team Cryptic, a familiar name if you've watched events such as DreamHack Valencia, but that team is now playing under G2 Esports. Team Cryptic have recently picked up a new roster within the realm, and let's break that down for you. If you're interested in looking through any of these rosters competing in today's tournament, you can do so yourselves by going to the bracket page, and you can click on the teams in the bracket to be able to break some of that down. But Team Cryptic, currently composed of Poinson, is actually known as Goldex in-game if I'm not mistaken. It's Ryan, Michaela, Musix, Nina Kuki, and Sizzy, with Nina Kuki acting as the substitute player for this roster. Pretty scary team if you've been around the realm for a while within the European region. Facing the most straight out of casuals, well, they've been playing in the scene for a little while longer under this name now and become a staple name within the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, as well as the PGS for the European region. They're led by their team captain of Diced Apples. They have Essel as well in here, Frog Blender, King D Devil, K-Konas, and Megiddo, a well-versed team if you've ever seen one. And with that in mind, champions, well, this is a best of 3 set, so we have some map drafting information for you and about ready to pull up on your screens. So let's go ahead and take a look at exactly where this game, this set, this entire tournament is going to be kicking things off in the upper side semi-finals this week. The bans have come through. We can see that Splitstone Quarry has been taken out of rotation, as well as Ice Mine. So some maps which are maybe less favorable for some teams, maybe Frozen Guard, maybe Timber Mill, are still on the table. First map, though, that has been selected is actually Jaguar Falls. And You can see this is a relatively neutral map for both teams to start off with. If I'm not mistaken, this was Team Cryptic's map pick. So they're feeling confident in playing more of maybe a smaller compact map. And looking at Team Cryptic's roster here, well, we can see they've got players like It's Ryan in their roster who are very used to playing, you know, the up-in-your-face Fernando, these aggressive frontliners who liked the smaller, more compact maps because there's less room for them to get poked down over distance and more room for them to go in for an all-out brawl. So it'll be interesting to see who starts to take the advantage in this situation when we just talk purely on map draft. But of course, champions, map draft isn't the only thing that comes into play here. We do also have the champion draft as well, and that is sitting, waiting, and ready for you. So without further ado, for the first time kicking things off here today in the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup number 25, let's go ahead and check out the champion draft for Team Cryptic versus Straight Outta Casuals, map number 1 of Jaguar Falls. Champion draft is on your screen. Straight Outta Casuals with the first ban, Team Cryptic with the second here. We'll have to see who elects to go into the first pick. Maeve and Makoa both taken off the table. Relatively standard so far. Straight Outta Casuals don't want to see any of that, and Cryptic with the second pick, they don't really want to risk that draft coming through to them. So Fernando picked up first. The Straight Outta Casuals not giving that through to the roster of Team Cryptic, where we talked about players like It's Ryan being on their team. Coming in second, very early Maldambalog and Drogos as well. So unusual first picks coming through for Team Cryptic. These are two champions which you typically see supports picked later on after the priority picks, and Drogos has a lot of counters available to them. And speaking of counterplay to Drogos, well, there's only one champion that we need to talk about here. Androxus has been locked in for Straight Outta Casuals. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Torvald coming in there later, and Janus as well. Expect Luminary on that champion for the extra damage. Cryptic then responding. Ash and Barrack locked in, getting a strong double frontline presence in the realm. I like it. It's relatively safe for them. Taking the Drogos and the Barrack on the same team as well is useful for them because Team Cryptic now have the area denial and the deployables on the same team. They don't have to worry about being hard countered. There's the Torvald though for Straight Outta Casuals in response alongside a Charlene coming in last. This makes Straight Outta Casuals lineup here on Jaguar Falls very scary. They got in-your-face aggression from Fernando and Androxus with maybe a field study Torvald bubble on them. This is going to be terrifying for Cryptic to face into if they can't find some way to mitigate the aggression. And in that situation, well, Cassie comes in as a last pick for Team Cryptic. And honestly, that just seems to be relatively safe to me. There doesn't seem to be a specific advantage which they might be looking for in this situation. They want to go with damage. They need direct as they already have Drogos online. They don't particularly want to go into AoE as Cryptic could be counted out solely by blast shields there. And getting Cassie online provides you with some mobility. She's going to be able to hit Androxus and dodge roll away and maybe escape some danger or an incoming Fernando, which is going to be useful there. And as we see, the champion draft has come to an end, folks. Let's head back to our map draft for just a moment to continue breaking that down. Cassie last pick. Again, I don't think that there was really any other safe option for these teams to go for. It's relatively standard. And with that in mind, well, you all have watched ESL Go4Paladins by now. I'm sure you all know the drill. We're going to have 3 minutes on the clock to start things off, and then we're going to get straight into game number 1 on Jag Falls between Team Cryptic and Straight Outta Casuals. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back then, champions, into game number 1 of this best-of-3 set in the semi-finals of the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup number 25. Team Cryptic versus Straight Outta Casuals facing off. On the left-hand side of your screen, though, of course, it is Straight Outta Casuals to kick things off. They're rocking out with King D Devil leading the charge on Scorched Fernando, followed up by K-Konas on Darkstalker and Droxus, Dice Apples on Luminary Genos, Megiddo on Alternating Current Torval, not the field study we thought might be there, and Frogblender on Desert Shadow Charlene. Their opponents, of course, Team Cryptic, are led by Goldex on Spirits Chosen Maldamba, Michaela on Wormjets, Drogos, Musics with Battering Ram Ash, it's Ryan on Tinker and Barrack, Exaction, Cassie for Sizzy to close things out. Initial itemization comes through relatively balanced. Megiddo forgetting to pick up an item could be devastating there if they're missing a Cauterize, which might have been very important, or could just be holding on to that. K-Kona straight to the backline there, trying to poke out versus double frontline in a bit of a bad situation, has the Nether Steps in hand, manages to get a reversal up, but in a lot of trouble and has to back off. Bubbled by Torvald. Megiddo now in a bit of a bad situation, trying to box out 1 versus 2, has to retreat here alongside King D Devil, who, as Fernando, is very, very low. Diced Apple with their Luminary Genos isn't going to heal these front lines up as fast as maybe the Maldamba will be for Team Cryptic, who's got more burst healing in their kit right now. And speaking of burst healing, Goldex, the Maldamba themselves on the objective right now, sitting pretty here, able to help keep Barrack alive, throws out the Gore to prevent King D Devil from wiping out It's Ryan, but It's Ryan is back at full health, but what's this? Round from behind. In comes Frogblender, picks up first blood. Bruce Buffer, announcer pack in the background, going to be calling that one out for sure. And in the air, K-Kona's looking for more people to slay, has a reversal, but doesn't manage to catch any incoming damage, so nothing really achieved right there. I like the angle which Frogblender is holding here, just trying to lock the peripheral, draw attention to himself. Has to be careful of Cassie dodge rolling in. Cassie does miss the follow-up shot, so Frogblender stays alive. We'll be able to regenerate now, some healing coming through from Genos. Konas waiting for out of combat regen, comes through as well, has the protection from Torvald, lands a lot of damage onto Ash, up goes the reversal, shoulder bash deals damage to them though. Konas has to flank around, and in comes Dragon Punch from Michaela as Team Cryptic are looking to make something happen. There's the slay onto Megiddo, down goes Straight Outta Casuals frontliner, and out comes Dread Serpent as well from Maldamba. That's going to open up the opportunity for Team Cryptic to capture as Straight Outta Casuals can't contest the objective. Really good clinical play from Team Cryptic. They take a 1-0 advantage at 2 minutes and 35 in, and are now looking to convert on that opportunity. And part of that just comes down to the fact that we're watching a Drogos here, right, for Team Cryptic. With Fire Spit, they got a lot of AoE damage. Straight Outta Casuals were giving themselves a lot of free poke towards Team Cryptic, and as a result, they did get taken down relatively easily. But can Team Cryptic blast through Straight Outta Casuals' defense quite as easily as they managed to take that capture objective? It's going to be a tricky one here, but Team Cryptic, sitting in the backline right now, have an Ash behind everybody else. Musix is looking for some distraction play, and as soon as they can find that, as soon as they can start drawing attention away from the objective, oh, they could have been able to open up that push potential, but no, really good Void Grip from Diced Apples, shuts them down entirely. Nice coordination as well with Frogblender to Charlene to ensure that the focus fire comes through, but killing spree to Michaela, 3 in a row for Drogos. Planet comes out from Frogblender, nothing really found right there, but Sizzy is behind the enemy team, looking for damage on a Straight Outta Casuals. Misses every single shot though. Should get shut down here by Charlene. Withdraw comes through from Frogblender, and King D Devil cleans up that kill, but bit of a narrow situation there for the squad of Straight Outta Casuals. Could have easily lost their Androxus a little bit faster than they did and opened up that push potential sooner. As it is, nobody is on the payload for Team Cryptic right now. Going to tune in with Goldex real fast, as the support is usually the one who ends up escorting this. And so far, Team Cryptic, they found a couple of kills. They wanted to push their advantage, want to make a bit of space for their team, but doesn't seem to have been that successful as the payload has only just started moving. Dome Shield used by Barrack in a curious position there. And there are 44 seconds left on this payload push with no real sign of an advantage coming through. But hold that thought, Dread Serpent thrown out by Goldex. Double kill for Musix comes through, looking to convert that into a triple kill as they try and dive the backline, but 1400 health remaining, must get out of danger for the time being, but Siege Shield's keeping them alive. They continue to poke out Megiddo, and the Mending Spirits comes through from Goldex. No big ultimates on the board for Team Cryptic right now, with the exception of Dragon Punch. 4 are up and available for the squad of Straight Outta Casuals, but will something like Heat Haze be enough to turn the tide right now? Torvald throws out Hyper Beam, down comes the rocket from Drogos, but it's not going to be enough right here, and Frogblender picks up 1 kill onto Michaela, helps convert with Diced Apples on a kill into Musix. Sizzy comes in and continues to contest. It's Ryan is holding strong for the time being. Healing is good from Goldex, but a nice Impaler arrow sets up a double kill for Megiddo. That should be all she wrote for this push. Overtime is ticking. Triple kill for Megiddo on Torvald. Straight Outta Casuals defend successfully, and at 5 minutes and 5 seconds in, tie things up 1-1 on the objective score. Now, taking a look at our net worth charts on screen here, we're going to talk about one of the fundamentals of Paladins, which is offensive itemization mapping. This is so crucial for all players in competitive Paladins. When you end up making a defense, you want to make sure that you're able to match the level of offensive items as your opponents who got the extra 300 credits from the neutral capture point. So with Team Cryptic, they've got the level 2 Wrecker online. They've got, for Michaela and it's Ryan, they haven't actually got a level 2 Cauterize online, which is curious here. Sizzy not sitting on enough credits, missing a lot of shots on Cassie. Slight advantage there for, even though straight out of casuals are actually down on credits to straight out of casuals because they're able to get the level 2 anti-heal online. And King D Devil, taking a quick look at their loadout real fast, not actually running any brand in there, so getting the Cauterize online quickly is going to be important, but Frog Blender picks things off with a kill onto It's Ryan, threads the needle through onto Barak, now looks to convert onto a second kill as Megiddo pushes out very far in advance, and Torvald with their recently reworked weapon is able to deal a lot of damage from distance, throws out protection onto Androxus in the sky, and Kate Konos drops a Cursed Arm straight towards Goldex, can't quite clean up the kill. But all the while, it's buying space for this team of straight out of casuals. Nice slay from It's Ryan on a Frog Blender will maybe turn this around. Can Team Cryptic capitalize on maybe another kill on towards Kate Konas to be able to make their way towards the objective here, which is now sitting at 60% and still rising. Megiddo will retreat, blocks off the angle. Here comes Dragon Punch from Michaela. This is the big opportunity for Team Cryptic to make the difference, and they find Fernando. No Immortal comes out, double kill for Michaela immediately as Dread Serpent is used to capitalize on the back of all of that damage, and now Michaela is continuing to look for more. Round the peripheral comes Sizzy, hits the dodge roll reset, looks for Megiddo, they know where they are through the wall, bit of a battle going out between Musics and Frog Blender in the back line, but Michaela helps clean that one up, and it's Ryan gets credit for the kill on the Charlene. Team Cryptic are rolling this objective now. They've overtaken their opponents in terms of objective capture, 81% and climbing. Michaela under a lot of pressure from Kate Konos. Reversal goes up, but it's Ryan gets the kill. Killing spree for Barak right there, and Team Cryptic are now holding overtime on the objective as King D Devil desperately tries to stay alive with Immortal, but he just can't close the gap. Down goes Dome Shield, Diced Apples wiped away, incinerated in a second by that flamethrower turret from Barak, and it's Ryan doing such a good job at just making sure that they keep their team alive and secure the objective for them all the while. Speaking of It's Ryan there, let's go ahead and take a look at, oh, hold that thought. Torvald comes through, the big Hyper Beam gets a double kill onto Sizzy and It's Ryan, and continues to look for frags, likely to fall here anyway, as we do see maybe Musics come through, apply some extra poke, but Megiddo is able to stay alive. But back to what we were talking about before, Barak, damage charts, third right now, 43,000 on the Master Mechanics, so doing a lot of work for their team. It's Ryan, we're used to seeing them on aggressive frontliners like Fernando, but they're certainly able to do what they need to on a more defensive frontliner like Barak. See Bowling Ball used there in their loadout to apply a personal shield, quickly prevent that reversal from doing a ton of damage. Sizzy takes out Androx as Kate Konas goes down. Team Cryptic are breaking the base out of straight out of casuals right now, pushing through the archways, the catwalks, which are the defensive positions within this map, which allow you to maybe hold the high ground advantage and drop damage to your opponents from high. We're getting close to conversion. It's 2-1 the scoreline, 1 minute and 17 seconds left on this payload push, and Charlene has been forced into heat haste. Cassie activates Scout immediately though, and Charlene is getting poked down in the backline very quickly by Sizzy, who manages to convert on that kill. Almost a double kill. It's Ryan and Michaela pick up 2 of their own, and Team Cryptic push successfully with relatively little resistance. Nice use of coordinated ultimates to really help push that one through. Love the utilization of Goldex's Dread Serpent towards the end there, just to ensure that they hit the gas pedal and keep the momentum in the favor of Team Cryptic. Don't allow straight out of casuals the chance to catch their breath. And with that in mind, champions, once again, looking at the items, we can see that Team Cryptic have a significant advantage over straight out of casuals right now. While straight out of casuals are sitting on the tier 2 Cauterize, which we remarked as being an important equivalent point throughout the duration of a Paladins competitive match. Tier 2 Cauterize has been achieved by Team Cryptic. Tier 3 Wrecker, so they're going to be breaking down the shields of King D Devil and Megiddo's protection, more importantly, very quickly. But it's the resilience as well, which I really like picked up. We saw Musics get sent off the map by a Hyper Beam previously. That won't happen again now that they have Battering Ram, their CC immunity available, but also a Resilience 3, and Musics goes straight towards the backline, drops damage on a Frog Blender who can't break down that barricade that they put up the Siege Shield, trying to find them round the corner. Musics can try to stay within their protective range of Assert Dominance to keep this fight up, but they've got a Torvald on their back now. They've got to use Battering Ram to get out of there, and Music is likely to be getting run down here, but Michaela's already picked up a triple kill, tries to convert onto a quadra with Fire Spit. Can they find the damage on a Diced Apples? In the air, the rocket connects, but they don't quite get the kill. But still, 4 enemies down for Straight Outta Casuals. Team Cryptic on the back of this Drogoz are holding the objective at 99%, and Cryptic capture no contest. Really good distractive work the entire way through from Ash, and fantastic capitalization on kill opportunities from Drogoz throughout the duration. With that in mind, champions, let's take a look at our scoreboard for game number 1 of this semi-final set here on Jaguar Falls, and you can see exactly how it was broken down. Michaela, the player of the hour, sitting on a streak of 15 right at the end there as they're channeling Dragon Punch, unable to find the extra kill to maybe nab some additional credits or glory for their slash line. 13, 2, and 8. Only 2 deaths playing into a recently buffed Androxus with a Torvald on their team. This is remarkable work from Team Cryptic, to say the least. But it raises some questions for Straight Outta Casuals. During a couple of points in the game, Straight Outta Casuals appear to be focusing a lot of frontline down, without specifically targeting their attention towards maybe the backline carries, which needed to be addressed. Michaela obviously got a lot of damage dealt for free, 74,000 being the highest in the game. I'm wondering where the focus was right there. There was nobody chasing them down. K-Konas was counted out at every opportunity by the frontline that kept on coming through. Musics on Ash did a phenomenal job during the last capture objective of making sure that Frogblander just wasn't a part of the main point fight, and when they did engage, was in a lot of trouble because they had very low health and were quickly wiped out by Michaela's Drogoz. Overall, good coordinated play from Team Cryptic. I don't feel like Straight Outta Casuals responded to it as they should have done. Interesting legendary choices as well. I think in this situation, I mean, we had Direct Current on Megiddo with the Torvald. Nullify deals 500 more damage. During last week's PGS, we saw that Androxus with Darkstalker, as well as a Torvald Field Study on them, as well as a Genos Luminary, they have close to 3,000 DPS. The fact that Androxus was running after frontline in these fights without the ability to shred through them, like players like, if I'm not mistaken, we had, oh goodness, Mudastina, Cybate, playing the Androxus in last week in the EU PGS, without that capability to deal so much damage to the front lines, it feels like a bit of a wasted pick there. And with that in mind, champions, that was game number 1 of our upper side semi-finals, but there is still a comeback opportunity for Straight Outta Casuals in this situation. It is a best-of-3 set in the semi-finals, so let's go ahead and check out where we'll be going next in the realm as the map draft is up on your screen. Now, taking a quick look at this, Team Cryptic, they took map number 1 of Jaguar Falls. Map number 2, Frog Isle. This is Straight Outta Casuals' map pick here, and I'm excited to see how the champion draft for this plays out, because it should be slightly different. With a, we definitely saw Team Cryptic take the advantage, draft a composition which they wanted to roll with on Jaguar Falls. So for a map like Frog Isle, I'm expecting to maybe see a champion like Grover come out, some long-range damage, which is going to be able to lock off angle of entry towards the objective. I do expect maybe a Torvald to come out again just because of the Hyper Beam potential, maybe a Barrack as well due to their ability to hold solo on an objective, and that means that of course we'll likely be seeing the Drogoz pick up in relative counters. But in what order and what team will get what? And are we going to see as early support prioritization again? That's going to be a big question for me. The first pick, Maldamba, or the second pick coming through for Team Cryptic, worked out really well for them this time around. I'm wondering if Straight Outta Casuals have the mentality to maybe try and steal that away. We're going to have to find out. As right here on your screens right now, champions, it is the draft for map number 2 of Team Cryptic versus Straight Outta Casuals on Frog Isle. Looking at the champion draft now, Cryptic currently up 1 game. They have first pick and first ban. First ban comes through, and it's Charlene. While Charlene didn't actually seem to be a thorn in their side last game, and I can appreciate the ban on a map like Frog Isle coming through, but Maeve is taken away as well. This leaves Cryptic with the first pick Makoa open, and they're immediately going to go into it, recognizing the importance of how Dredge Anger can impact a fight. Straight Outta Casuals respond, Torvald and Grover in style. Have to see if those are able to be pulled off with some field study trickery, and if Grover can hit upwards of 1,500 at max range there. Giannis and Drogoz locked in for Team Cryptic now in the response, getting AoE damage and their support online early. Not prioritizing the Maldamba that we saw previously, which is curious. And Ashen Maldamba coming through then for Straight Outta Casuals. Double frontline, double support so far, lacking in direct and AoE damage to a degree is this team in red. Cryptic, they have their last pick open. Going to draft more aggressive frontline because they want to be able to get into the backline of Straight Outta Casuals and pressure out Grover and Cassie as well. It's a neutral, safe last pick damage, and I appreciate them going with it here. Disengage can provide some environmental kills. The last pick Barrett comes through for Straight Outta Casuals. They're going for triple frontline in this situation, so a very low damage team composition overall. But in recent weeks, we have been seeing the triple frontline start to succeed more and more throughout the duration of competitive games. But often that revolves around building a Ruckus into your composition, and maybe a very high solo damage dealer like a Bomb King or an Androxus who can be buffed up by Torvald with Field Study. Rather than their team, I do have questions and reservations about how Straight Outta Casuals are going to perform. We'll just have to see how it all pans out in game, folks, as we are about ready to move in to map number 2 and get some gameplay on your screens. Once again, you know the drill, 2 minutes on your screen. We'll be back after the break for map number 2 of Team Cryptic versus Straight Outta Casuals to see if it'll be a sweep or if Straight Outta Casuals can find a way back into this set. Game number 2 on your screens then, champions of this Team Cryptic versus Straight Outta Casuals matchup. Map number 2 is, of course, Frog Isle, as we have just seen. My name is Hi-Rez Vox, and let's break down the team compositions and legendary choices for you for the second time today. For Team Cryptic, now on the blue side, the left-hand side of your scoreboard, Music is going to be leading with Scorch Fernando, Sissy on Exaction Cassie, Michaela with Combustible Drogas here, Goldex on Celestial, Touch Genos for that extra burst heal, it's right on Pluck Makoa. Against them, Straight Outta Casuals have Diced Apples on Spirits Chosen, Maldamba, Kekonas on Battering on Ash, Frog Blender on Frosty Grover, Megiddo, Field Study Torvald this time, and King D Devil on Tinker and Barrack. So there's the damage supplement that we talked about earlier coming through from Megiddo. Can maybe look for some good damage towards the backline if they are able to bubble Grover here. And speaking of good damage, it just comes through from the red team so far. King D Devil does drop as Cassie gets the shutdown onto them, but Sissy is rapidly being pressured here. Megiddo able to pick up the kill, the second of this game so far for them. Make that a third assist coming through in a 4 streak overall. And Straight Outta Casuals just wipe their opposition completely off the map. This is the devastating power of triple frontline early, folks. Yes, Team Cryptic have a Makoa, but right now, who are they going to be able to pull from Straight Outta Casuals lineup, which is going to result in a kill? Grover's currently sitting back of the map, spamming axes. On the objective, catches a really nice crippling throw on the Cassie as well, preventing the dodge roll from coming through. Overtime is already ticking for Straight Outta Casuals as well. And as we've said, anybody that Makoa pulls is going to have upwards of 3,000 health right now because they can't get to Maldamba. Team Cryptic can't get to Grover. They have no kill potential, yet they've got to go for some better play from long range, try and whittle down their opponents, and then capitalize on kill potential later on. As it stands, King D Devil on Barrack is starting to set up the front line for their team. Double turrets have been established, dealing a lot of damage towards Fernando's shield here. While Damba throws out a snake toss towards him, but all the while, Frogplander's been doing a lot of work from the back of the map on Grover. 17,000 damage so far, highest on their team, and is able to help King D Devil convert on yet another kill onto Music's double kill for King D Devil as the payload push continues. And Team Cryptic, well, they just don't know how to deal with this triple tank lineup. They haven't got the Dragon Punch online just yet. 95% for Drogos. They have the big kill potential on their squad to be able to lock down and remove one opponent immediately from the battlefield. Cryptic is struggling here, but Drogos has Dragon Punch ready. Combustible is doing some work. Dragon Punch is being channeled. Kekona's going to use Battering Ram to get out of that. Dread Serpent thrown out, but Michaela does pick up one kill. Torvald tries to convert onto a kill of their own with Hyper Beam, and Megiddo gets the triple kill. Throws 3 enemies off the map in an instant, and now it's Ryan silenced out as well. Can just be burst down before Ancient Rage could even be activated. Straight out of Casuals, get the conversion. Phenomenal play coming through from them, and they lead 2 points to 0 at 3 minutes and 20 seconds into this game number 2. What a turnaround play we're seeing from this team compared to how they were performing in game number 1. And it's not all just about draft, folks. It's also about the play coming through from this squad as well. And that first round was over so quickly. Straight Outta Casuals now have the offensive item advantage going into round number 2. You can see that nobody on Team Cryptic is above the all-important 900 credit mark, with the exception of Goldex, who isn't itemizing into offensive yet items. And as a result, nobody's able to pick up their tier 2 Cauterize, their tier 2 Wrecker. They're getting some morale boosts online. You know, the Master Riding from Makoa, the Chronos for Cassie as well. And Cassie will kick this fight off using Scout, but Straight Outta Casuals will win the war of attrition here, hands down. Team Cryptic are no closer to beating Triple Tank through itemization than they were right at the beginning. Whirlwind comes out from Grover, keeps everybody nice and healthy on the objective. Music's crippled down, is in so much trouble and gets run down by Frogplander on Grover. The ferocity bonus damage coming through strong right there. Busy behind for Team Cryptic. We'll try and make something happen, but it's actually just sitting in the respawn area straight at the Casuals right now, whilst they cap for free, with King D Devil leading the charge alongside Ash towards the enemy front line. No sign of this changing, but it's Ryan could kick things off here. Yeah, they do. Nice Dredge Anchor play, gets King D Devil off the map, but speaking off the map, beautiful boop by Kekona's. Kinetic Burst comes through and sends Pirate Makoa straight into the drink. Oh! Ash unable to actually get themselves onto the objective. Assert Dominance does not get procced right there. Can't keep themselves alive. The Team Cryptic have come through and got a bit of a comeback here. Now they're on the objective. They're starting to get established, and Michaela's throwing out a vast amount of damage as Drogo's in this situation. Salvo primed and ready, throws out some burst, pokes everybody down to about half health currently, and Dragon Punch is now being channeled, looking to convert on the kill on the King D Devil. Michaela gets it, takes a lot of damage in response, but it's Ryan now in Ancient Rages, battering away their opponents on the objective, keeps Ash out the region of her Assert Dominance, and Team Cryptic are still holding the advantage. Straight Outta Casuals had that capture in the bag, but they let it slip away. Team Cryptic, with phenomenal teamwork, convert on some very important ultimates and are able to find the kill potential that they need to take Straight Outta Casuals at least to another round following this one. Great play overall from Team Cryptic. This is the team which we saw in Game 1 that Straight Outta Casuals had no way of dealing with. Looks like they might be back on form. Sometimes it just takes that second of adjustment to be able to know how to really turn around your play, and one player who's certainly doing that for the team is Sissy right now. 5 streakers Cassie, landing a lot of dodge roll reset shots, only sitting at 28,000 damage, but largely going to be fighting into a lot of shields until Wrecker really comes online for Drogos for Team Cryptic right now, so you can attribute that to being why the damage is lower. I want to see Sissy go big as the game gets on. They can be so annoyingly hyper-mobile during these situations and really run rings around a triple tank team as long as they can stay out of range. Hyper Beam was used there by Torvald. Megiddo able to find nobody though off the back of it. King D Devil slays Michaela as Fire Spit comes through, but Sissy on the high ground now is looking for conversions with 1 minute and 20 seconds left on this payload push. That payload is about 90% of the way through the conversion. Sissy dodge rolls off the map. It's Ryan jumps off as well. Was that a coordinated suicide? It looks like it might have been, as there was no real reason for Sissy to jump off like that, but recognizing the respawns were far away and they were only getting staggered, I'm going to actually beat that down to a tactical play with more of a flair of style. You saw Makoa go for the Dredge Anchor, jump off the map anyway. I'm calling that one as a tactical and calculated reset rather than anything else. Straight out of casuals now. They have the opportunity to get a bit more of a forward defense going. Got to be careful as round the side, K-Kona's in a great deal of trouble, gets pulled off the map by It's Ryan. Makoa's opened up the opportunity for their team to capitalize on a huge push here. It's Ryan with Cauterize 2 continuing to apply the anti-heal. Can't get the Dredge Anger to follow on to Barak, but was able to shut down the all-important Whirlwind ultimate coming out of Grover. And straight out of casuals, only have Ash left alive right now. Team Cryptic had the payload so close, it pushed through with no real resistance. 2-2, all tied up at 7 minutes and 40 seconds in. This game is proving to be a relatively more even one than I think anybody really expected after that first initial capture point. Now looking at the net worth charts, much more even between the teams. Jealous for Team Cryptic, leading the charge right now. The support getting a lot of healing done as well as playing the objective will be sitting at the top there, but investing into more expensive itemization in the form of Chronos. They need those credits to be able to become relevant and make sure that their Astral Mark has as short a cooldown as possible. On the other side of things, straight out of casuals, well, they have got tier 3 offensive itemization online, which is only present for one member of Team Cryptic right now. Music's on Fernando going to be doing a lot of the Cauterize work for their team. Have to see if it's going to be effective here, or if maybe straight out of casuals can win, again, the war out of attrition. But that just didn't seem to be a problem last time around, as Team Cryptic were able to counter it out with that good picks, but this time coming through. Early advantage to straight out of casuals. They start to stack up capture advantage. K-Kona's holds the front line of the battlefield with Ash. Assert dominance has just been elapsed, and a pause comes through from Diced Apples just as Dome Shield was used by Barak to no avail. King D Devil perishing right there. Sizzy got the shutdown play. As we do have a pause going on our screens, folks, let's take a quick look back over our overall scoreboard here and see about where we're standing. Again, the offensive itemization, war of attrition, goes at this point to the squad of straight out of casuals, but they're just not able to win this war out of attrition. They had a good initial engagement into this fight. K-Kona's provided a lot of zone, but no kills were required off the back of the assert dominance, and all it did was buy a bit of capture, a bit of time on the objective for straight out of casuals. Team Cryptic then, they rotate around the peripheral of this fight, and they're able to go via the frog statue. And if we show you a little bit of positioning information on screen right now, don't often do free cam in the games because it's tricky to make it work and look good. But this frog statue and this peripheral flanking route, we can see that It's Ryan on Makoa has come all the way around the side here. Sizzy as well and Michaela to both find the kill onto an isolated Barak, and now they're looking for more. Michaela, though, is thrown off the map. Will they be able to get back on? No, Grover says goodbye. Frog Blender getting the kill, but It's Ryan finds the trade as they do pull K-Kona's off the map. Only 18%, 21% now for straight out of casuals captured on the objective. So we've had a minute or so of this team fight break out with no real advantage going to one team. And only just now, straight out of casuals are able to find some footwork here. Team Cryptic still have the opportunity to go back through, but the ultimates are few and far between, and that is concerning. Through time and space, available for Goldex. If maybe a Hyper Beam is used by Torvald, that could be a good bit of counterplay to that, as we saw Cuss Cutie from G2 Esports pull off in the North American PPL. Celestial Touch Genos does come through, keeps Fernandez alive. Out comes Dread Serpent from straight out of casuals. Hyper being used by Torvald as well. It's Ryan though, H and Rage on the front line of this fight. Gets stunned up by Maldamba, trying to do so much cleave damage with their Dredge Anchor right now. Through time and space from Genos comes through as well. But it's Ryan in a great deal of trouble. Isn't able to find a kill in this situation. Is in so much trouble. Diced Apple and Megiddo get 2 kills of their own right now. Fire Spit comes through from Michaela. Overtime is ticking. Straight out of casuals hold the objective advantage all in the palm of their hand. No easy way back in. They get capture number 3 of this map of Frog Isle. And although Team Cryptic put up a good fight, it's so flip-flop back and forth, and as that fight just went on longer and longer, the war of attrition just came through in favor of straight out of casuals. Conversion potential then does come through for this team in red right now. Team Cryptic could look for an opportunity to defend. But Megiddo is just starting to roll over everybody. Taking a look at the damage charts again. Megiddo falling to the lower side of those. Hovering at the top currently is Michaela as a combustible Drogos, but Frog Blender on Grover really keeping up with everybody else right now. We talked about how maybe the triple frontline composition could be in a bit of trouble if they didn't have the ability to deal damage from these frontline players and from the solo Grover. Missing a lot of AoE damage as well. It might have been difficult for them to really keep themselves relevant in this game. That doesn't seem to be the issue. The payload's getting closer and closer towards conversion. Dragon Punch comes through to try and stall it out, but Dread Serpent is ready. Michaela looks for the Dragon Punch towards towards Torvald, finds it, but Ash asserts dominance on the objective, and out comes Dread Serpent as Dome Shield is activated by Barak as well in tandem. Immortal keeps Fernando alive on the objective. Makoa shell spins back in, finds the pluck on Ash, but they're stunned out by Diced Apple's Maldamba. Snake Toss reload comes through, the Gourd thrown out as well. That's enough damage to convert. Straight out of Casuals, claim victory in game number 2. And we've got an all tied up series here, folks. 1-1 in the upper side semifinals. Goodness gracious me, what a turnaround play. Triple Frontline does the deed, champions. And again, saying, well, maybe with Triple Frontline we're going to have a damage deficit issue. Didn't matter. Frog Blender with Field Study Torvald on them, on the Grover, 78,000 damage. King D Devil playing Barak, 14 kills. In fact, sitting at 23 eliminations to 6. An impressive slash line for Barak, 76,000 damage, the third highest in game. This team came to frag with Triple Frontline, and they found a way to deal the damage necessary to win this game. And this also raises the interesting question here as we take a look at the top side and take a look at Team Cryptic's scoreboard and draft. Makoa, really kind of a non-factor in that game. It's Ryan during their Ancient Rage couldn't find squishy targets to shut down because, well, there really were no squishy targets. You know, they plugged people in, they got over 3,000 health and just can't find kill potential. There's good disengage, there's good healing from stuff like Whirlwind, and also the Snake Toss stuns from Diced Apples were magnificent to ensure that there was no easy way for the melee Makoa to capitalize on those kills. Michaela with Drogos did seem like a bit of a saving grace. What I didn't see come through, though, was the combination of Dragon Punch and Immortal used in tandem. Michaela was able to get a lot of damage done with Combustible, as most Drogos players running Combustible are. But when they went in with Dragon Punch, it's the same old story. Drogos ults, Drogos gets a kill, Drogos dies because they're being focused down by everybody in mid-air and after they get the kill. Then you've had a 1-for-1 trade. Hopefully it's been a valuable enough target that Drogos has been able to eliminate that you're able to snowball the fight in your favor. But without a Torvald on your team, to be able to use protection to keep Drogos safe in those instances, without Fernando using Immortal in good conjunction, Team Cryptic didn't have the coordination there to pull off the counter frontline strategy. It just didn't work, and that's all there is to it, folks. With that in mind, we now have map number 3 of this series coming up next. So far, Team Cryptic, they've taken the first map of Jaguar Falls. Straight out of Casuals, map number 2 of Frog Isle. All tied up is to Serpent Beach that we head for map number 3, champions. And this is still sticking with the whole Temple Isle aesthetic for the realm here. We're still sticking with the same art style, but it's a very different map in terms of dynamics. If we want to talk about dynamics, we can examine Jaguar Falls is very compact, very brawly. You know, we saw Ash be hyper effective as they're able to get up in champions' faces, deal a lot of damage. Jaguar Falls, whilst it's more spread out, there are some good choke points on it. It's not a linear map by any means, but it's a map which doesn't feature much verticality. Serpent Beach, though, completely different question. A lot of verticality, a broad and open map. The staple competitive level play first pick map for an extended duration of time in the realm. We'll have to see how the picks go down as we get ready to head through into the champion draft for map number 3 of Serpent Beach. Let's see which team can find an advantage here and which team may be going home empty-handed, or at least to the bronze match of this week's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. So our champion draft is on our screens. 1-1 all tied up between these two teams. Straight out of Casuals, well, they have first pick, first ban. They say goodbye, Makoa. We just don't want to deal with that in our games at all. Cryptic, they eliminate Torvald. This actually, for the first time, if I'm not mistaken, does give us the possibility of seeing a Mave pick very early on. But no, Barak prioritized above all else by SOC on Serpent Beach. Speaking of verticality, Ruckus to follow. Aerial Assault, the popular legendary choice for them currently. Expect to see them up in the rafters. Good choice. They're able to traverse the high and low ground easily. And Cassie, safe early damage pick for Team Cryptic. Not really giving too much up in terms of strategy right now. Letting straight out of Casuals reveal where they want to go. And SOC will draft Ash and Genos next. So frontline and support comes through. Cryptic now leading with the area denial. I like this. The Drogo's picking a Barak, denies Barak the opportunity to get set up and established on the objective, and drafting Maldamba here as well does leave the frontline pick in the tank for them. They're not going triple frontline here, but they do have a degree of counterplay. Inara could be pulled out here, and I'd like to see it. Treacherous Ground, very useful versus Maven and Droxus, as straight out of Casuals have now rounded their draft out with double flanker here. A lot of damages on the table. A lot of possibilities do come through. No, it's not the Inara that we thought might be useful here due to their treacherous ground cripple on that specific legendary. It was, in fact, a Fernando. So going with more of an aggressive draft, and making sure that they have some form of shielding online, making sure that maybe this time around Immortal could be used in conjunction with Dragon Punch. I like the potential for it. And overall, Cryptic right here for me has a much stronger draft than Straight Outta Casuals. Straight Outta Casuals, they've got a lot of kill potential from Androxus and Maeve. For sure. The long-range damage and area denial, well, that goes hand in hand with Team Cryptic right now. And their wombo combo potential of Hexafire and Dread Serpent and Immortal to keep everybody alive, as well as Cassie's Scout to counter out the impact of Maeve's Midnight. I love it. But whether it'll play out like this in-game, folks, we'll just have to see. 2 minutes back on the clock. We'll be heading back towards the map draft for a short break.
Famous, number one, desirable. I do what I want when I want and how I want it. Leave you with the one in the air, that's how I roll. I got changes, bro, I don't care about no goal. Better, so much better, flipping incredible. Always on the show, so they know that I still got it. And I never feel sorry, yeah, top of the world. This is me, I'm so royal. And you all wanna be round. Yeah, you all wanna be round. Round a champion, a champion. This is me, I'm still on it. Cause you all wanna be loved. Yeah, you all wanna be loved. By a champion, a champion.
Welcome back then, champions, to game number 3, map number 3 of Serpent Beach for this upper bracket semi-final set between Team Cryptic and Straight Out of Casuals. Once again, still high-res Vox here. No, I've not changed. I'm still the same person, but the drafts certainly have. And Straight Out of Casuals able to pull the comeback game out. And now on the left-hand side of your screen, the blue team. They got King D Devil back on the Tinkering Barrack again. Luminary, Jealous for Diced Apples. K-Killer's on Darkstalker and Droxus. Artful Dodger, Maeve for Frogblender. And Megiddo on Battering Ram Ash. For Team Cryptic, it's Goldex with Spirits Chosen Maldumba. Music's on Scorch Fernando, Michaela on Wormjet Drogos. Sizzy on Exaction Cassie. It's Ryan on Aerial Assault Ruckus. The big plays for me coming through is the itemization matches pretty much between both teams. Double record though for Straight Outta Casuals, and Maeve, interesting enough, picking that up. Comes down to, well, the Maeve pick. How is this flanker gonna play out? And is K-Konas on Androxus gonna be able to find more kill potential for SOC than they found in game number 1 on Jag Falls, with a lot of damage rapidly bashed into Fernando. Now looking for the shots towards Cassie, firing very quickly, but gets the Darkstalker execution on towards them. Frogblender cleans up Music's, resets with 9 lives. Their cooldowns, and prowls towards the backline, trying to find some damage towards Drogo's. Got to be careful with the fire spin. This is Pounce, even though they take some damage to stay on the map. K-Konas gets the trade on the high ground as they take over and continue the pressure on Michaela. 500 health remaining, but rapidly charging up back again. This harassment coming out of Androxus is supreme right now, using the Nether Steps in close combination just to make sure that nobody can really make their way towards the objective. Uncontested capture, Straight Outta Casuals. Find cap number 1 here on Serpent Beach. No trouble at all in under 2 minutes. Team Cryptic just didn't seem to find a way back in. We asked right at the beginning, like, how are these double flanks going to play out? How are they going to be able to apply pressure, get the kill potential that they need to, and keep their enemy at bay? And, well, we saw that masterfully throughout the game. But now, Sizzy was able to find 1 pick on the K-Konas. Does a retreat towards the back of the map here. Gord is thrown out maybe too far forwards for Goldex right there. He's relying on Mending Spirits now to keep their team alive. Maeve returns to the battlefield, throws out some daggers. Looks for some kill potential, maybe towards Cassie. Cassie does have their number. It's right on the high ground, though, the target of choice, getting so much focus. Frog Blender snipes them away from halfway across the map and is able to convert onto a kill onto the Ruckus, maybe looking for one on towards Drogs as well. K-Koners can find it. 2 members of Team Cryptic down. Straight out of Casuals have found a way to break the base, and maybe they're looking for a third here as Cassie is in a lot of trouble. Sizzy preemptively charging their dodge roll shot, but K-Koners finds the kill as the rest of the team rounds the corner, manages to poke them down. Megiddo slays Musics, and Darkstalker comes into effect with the bonus damage from Androxus coming through. Nice snapshot. A cursed arm towards Goldex, double kill comes through, and now it's Michaela in Dragon Punch looking for a kill, but Midnight has happened from Maeve. Masterful use of that by Frog Blender, and Michaela was unable to find any kind of purchase. Cooldown reset comes through, Michaela just gives up their life. Killing spree for Maeve, and Dice Dapples hoisting the Nando into the air is looking to drive their team towards conversion as Immortal is used in a terrible position from Musics. So selfishly, just to keep themselves alive, allows straight out of Casuals to push through very, very easily. SOC 2-0 in 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Item advantage, level 2 offensive, straight away to them. Let's check out the net worth charts, and again, we saw them roll like this on Frog Isle initially. Less than 900 credits for everybody on Team Cryptic. Early advantage to straight out of Casuals is so one-sided right now. But it's not just the items that are one-sided. It's also the ultimates. Take a look at the charges for everybody on Team Cryptic. Everybody used their ultimates right at the end of the previous round on defense, including Cassie's Scout. Goldex on Malzamba, the only one available for Cryptic with an ultimate. Dread Serpent has come up, but straight into Casuals have 3. They've got assert dominance for the distraction, the sticking power. They've got the defensive capabilities of Dome Shield. They're also sitting on through time and space, and we're yet to really find out where that's valuable apart from taking down the maybe following up on a Ceres conversion, maybe following up on taking down the Dome Shield of Barak and eliminating the Flamethrower turret. We'll see if it gets a lucky kill. But still, I mean, Dome Shield and Assert Dominance by themselves are devastating. And as Frog Blender picks up the first kill in this engagement and takes some Musics out of the fight. One Fernando down. No offensive frontline left available for Team Cryptic as Ruckus is being forced out and zoned away by a Dome Shield. It's a good look for straight out of Casuals to rise upwards of 60% already on the objective as K-Koners goes unstoppable. 10 streak for them currently. Knows where Michaela is. Looks for the opportunity to poke them out. 667 damage. 821 as Darkstalker kicks in. Devastating play comes through, triple nether step, and Goldex is slain by an over 1,000 damage Darkstalker buffed headshot. This is devastation coming through from straight out of Casuals as they capture for a second time in a row. 5 minutes in, 3-0 already. No way to respond. K-Koners is missing shots left and right, but Michaela, all they can do is juke. They know that they can't outbox the Androxus right here. 14 streak for K-Koners right now. No sign of them slowing down. Frog Blender already sitting on Midnight, charged and ready and available once again as K-Koners goes Immortal with another 2 slays. And Team Cryptic, I think they've given up right there. Goldex knows that it's already over for their team. 16 streak for Androxus. Payload slowly moving on. Nobody can find a way out of base. The coordination from Team Cryptic just isn't here. They've got no way to respond to the absolute plethora of damage coming out of straight out of Casuals. And as Music suicides off the edge of the map and K-Koners goes to 19 on their streak, this payload moves towards conversion. Dragon Punch is shut down. No sign of it slowing down. King D Devil gets the double kill, and SOC pushed to victory 4-0 in the final game with what looks like Team Cryptic just giving up at the end there. Maybe it was the draft. Maybe it was the execution. But one thing is for sure. Team Cryptic, they came to play in the previous 2 rounds. Round number 3 right here. Something changed. Whether that was straight out of Casuals, killing their morale in its entirety with the early 2-0 and no easy way back in, or whether that was Team Cryptic just saying, you know what, we're going to call it a day, which is unsportsmanlike conduct and certainly not something that I hope happened. Well, we'll have to find out. That's really up for the players to publicize if they want it known, or the players to decide and work on in following weeks. But an abysmal performance there from Team Cryptic, but a lights-out performance from straight out of Casuals. Double flank, folks. I'll tell you what, when you have Androxus and Maeve working in coordination like this, it works. Importantly, though, I think it largely works because of the support choice. So there are a lot of independent play come through from Frog Blender and K-Koners during that final game. And without the Celestial Mark from Genos, the Astral Mark from Genos, excuse me, to be able to plonk a heal on them and let them go and do their thing, get out of combat, sit around a corner, and heal up very quickly, from range. Relying on maybe a Moldamba that needs line of sight to burst heal, I don't think this strategy in this composition would have been quite as effective. As it was though, it worked out beautifully. Straight out of casuals, as we've seen, they take the victory in this set and they do move forwards into the next round. Coming up next, champions, well, it's a different set of teams. We're, of course, moving through into the lower side semifinals in the bracket. And if you've already gone ahead and checked out what this is going to be at home, you can see that we're going to be watching Gangstars versus Blazing Hussars. Gangstars, of course, recently having picked up, if I'm not mistaken, the old Team Wicked roster. Blazing Hussars, a mixture of experienced competitive players coming together under a new name here. Exciting to see how that one plays out. We're going to go back to a short break whilst we get things set up and ready for our next round of competition. But during the past few games, I talked and raised a few times the PPL, the Paladins Premier League, during some key observation points. For example, Cutie being able to get the slam dunk double kill after being hit by Hyper Beam whilst playing Genos. If you wanted to have a bit of a breakdown, if you missed the PPL kicking off in the very first week last weekend, well, first of all, what are you doing? You don't want to do that. We saw some incredible plays coming through, and I have a few highlight surprises for you coming out within the next week or so. But on the other side of things, we do have a recap. So if you missed out on the action or you've missed the recap and you want to find out what did happen, getting ready for not just your VIP picks this week, but round 2 of the competition, let's go ahead and check out this recap video featuring Nick Hira's Pretty Hair Kyo.
Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Pretty Hair, and on Saturday we kicked off the start of the Paladins Premier League. This has been a very highly anticipated day since Hi-Rez Studios teamed up with Wesa and the Juggernaut organizations associated. It would be Fnatic and Na'Vi that had the honors of spilling the inaugural first blood on Jaguar Falls. While this matchup has traditionally gone the way of the Fnatic roster, given roster changes in recent performances, history was ripe to be rewritten. Europe is known for careful, calculated play that aims to capitalize on the mistakes of their opponent, but the gravity of this first PPL match weighed heavy on Na'Vi and Fnatic. Both teams were playing extremely carefully, more so than usual, trying not to be the first one to slip. But it would be Na'Vi that would go ahead and take Game 1 on Jaguar Falls, but Fnatic wouldn't go down without a fight, fighting back to take Game 2 on Serpent Beach. This set had to come down to the wire on Splitstone Quarry, battling 1 point at a time, back and forth, but finally it was Phoenix that dropped a momentous quadra kill to claim the first victory of the PPL in favor of Na'Vi. The next set was on the other end of the spectrum, with Ninjas in Pajamas boasting the most experienced roster in all of competitive Paladins, whereas Mouse Sports are some of the newer kids on the block. The Ninjas quickly carved up Mouse Sports with ease, 4-0 in both games 1 and 2 to cruise through to their first PPL victory. Nodus Vincier would come back to the stage and face off against a relatively unknown Virtus Pro roster. Game 1, Virtus Pro simply wasn't prepared for what Na'Vi, and Mutu specifically, had in store for them. The Na'Vi formula was simple, but effective. Field Study Torvald plus Luminary Genos and Darkstalker Androxus for a total of 85% bonus damage in an ideal setting. Mutu came out swinging for the fences, ending the game with a legendary 16-1 KD ratio, hitting the famous 180 flick onto a helpless Elven Path, sending him reeling into the Shadow Realm to join Cutie. In Game 2, Virtus Pro put up a much better fight, but another great performance from Mutu as the solo damage dealer in a triple tank composition resulted in Na'Vi ending their day with 2 victories and 0 losses. Fnatic and Mouse Sports would round out the day. Fnatic's Cybe 8 came out trying to match Mutu's performance on Androxus, and very successfully, I might add. Darkstalker Androxus appears to be a great solution to a 3-tank composition, as Fnatic slammed home a quick 4-0 win in both games 1 and 2, while whipping out a fan-favorite Bugsy Drogos in Game 2 to split their record on the day, 1 win and 1 loss. The standings after Week 1 of the European PPL are as follows. Nodus Vincier with 2 wins, 0 losses. Ninjas in Pajamas with 1 win and 0 losses. Fnatic at 1-1. Virtus Pro with 0 wins, 1 losses. And Mouse Sports with 0 wins and 2 losses. What an exciting Week 1, guys, to kick off the Paladins Premier League. But we've got the Paladins Global Series all week long to keep you satiated until week number 2. My name has been Pretty Hair. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome back then, champions, to the second set of semi-finals of today. It is of course still the best of 3 round in the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. In fact, every single round in the weekly, in the semi-finals and above of the weekly qualifier cups are best of 3. So we're all only seeing best of 3s today. No best of 5s, no best of 1s, all best of 3. Something about the number, I think. But it is Gangstars versus Blazing Hussars about to come up on your screen. And champions, we do have a map draft ready for you. Before we do begin, I just want to provide you with an updated bit of information that I have received from Team Cryptic, citing that they unfortunately had some internet connectivity issues for one of their players during the last game, which we just saw, which is why we saw the very fast 4-0 come through and effectively forfeiting the game, which was communicated to the ESL admins following and was considered a full forfeit right at the end there. So unfortunate technical difficulties on their behalf, and we do hope that those are resolved for any future matches which the team may be receiving. If it's something to do with your ISP and is often out of your control, kind of really sucks, but there's not much you can do about it. Regardless though, onto the different set right now though, Gangstars versus Blazing Hussars. Map draft is available. So let's see where we're going to start off this set here today. It is on your screens and it is available. Let's go ahead and check out the bans first of all. Ooh, Timber Mill has been taken off the table. This is more the kind of staple ban that we are used to seeing here, champions. This is the, we don't want to play it. Nobody wants to deal with the snipers. Nobody wants to deal with the counter snipers as well. Is Maeve a sniper right? Maeve feels like a sniper right now. So Timbermill just taken off the table by Gangstars. Stone Keep as well, removed by Blazing Hussars. Now this seems like a more targeted map ban specifically to me. They just don't want to deal with a map that they think Gangstars are good with. And so Serpent Beach, map number 1, again, the quintessential sort of gold standard for competitive Paladins play, features a nice amount of verticality, and really, it'll be interesting to see if we see a difference in draft and compositions this time around to what we saw in the first place here. Without further ado, we're ready for it, folks. Let's go ahead and check out the draft for map number 1 of Serpent Beach between Gangstars and Blazing Hussars. Gangstars then coming in, they have the first ban. Take out Ruckus, so not wanting to deal with the aerial assault. Didn't see it too effective when Team Cryptic played it, but we know there were difficulties there, so might be something to do with it. Blazing Hussars, their second pick, don't want to face off against Makoa. Good choice, but ooh, identical to what we saw in the previous set. Barrack is the early prioritization on 7th Beach for Gangstars. Bomb King then comes through alongside a Torvald for Blazing Hussars in response, getting some area damage and the all-important utility frontline online that Torvald has proven themselves to be. Gangstars respond by locking in their frontline and support with Janus and Ash. So double frontline is available for Gangstars now. Without Ruckus on the table, unlikely to go towards a triple frontline lineup, I would assume. Blazing Hussars ready to respond. They draft a second frontline of their own, now being Bomb King, Torvald, and Fernando, alongside Maldamba. So interestingly enough, drafting the support early rather than getting their damage online, leaving Blazing Hussars with the ability to go for a counter pick, maybe a Maeve, maybe an Eevee, if a sniper, for example, is picked up by Gangstars. But they're heading more towards Androxus here for Blue Team, alongside Drogos. But taking the aerial counter and the aerial monster themselves, the Lords of the Skies combined. Gangstars lineup of Barrack, Janus, Ash, Androxus, and Drogos is certainly formidable. How will Blazing Hussars respond? Last pick is ready, and it comes through. Lian! Instead of going directly into a sniper who might be more vulnerable, maybe the Strix or the Kinessa, but good at taking out Drogos, but very vulnerable towards Ash, very vulnerable towards the incoming pressure from Androxus. I like the angle to go with Lian here. She's got more medium-range box and kill potential. So having a draft of Bomb King, Torvald, Fernando, Maldamba, and Lian, Blazing Hussars look like they might be able to put up a fight against this Gangstars roster. Once again, champions, 2 minutes on the clock. We'll be heading back into game momentarily. Stay tuned as we kick off set number 2, the lower bracket semi-finals, the ESL Go4 Cup number 25. Okie dokie artichoke, we're back for game number 1 then of Gangstars versus Blazing Azars. Kicking things off on Serpent Beach. Vox still on the mic. 0-0 is the scoreline between these two teams. We're about to see how things kick off. Let's break down the legendary choices, starting off with Gangstars fighting out of the blue corner. The left-hand side of your spectator UI is Menschmeyer 360, rocking Tinker and Barrack, Celestial Touch, Genos for Navron, Sorcerer on Wormjet Stroger, Skozas on Godslayer Androxus, and Westo on Battering Ram Ash. Their opponents, of course, Blazing Azars, led by Grafis on Chain Reaction Bomb King, the Baki on Spirit's Chosen Maldamba Dialer, with Precision Lian, Kamika on Field Study Torvald, and Zexalos normally on the Cassie, actually on a Scorch Fernando here. Master Riding for Zexalos as well on Fernando. Have to see if it pays off. Straight to the backline they go. Fireball comes through. Hits 3 members. Over 1,000 damage straight onto Drogos. That's got a sting right there. Double Fireball comes through and the Baku picks up first blood. Zexalos surely to fall here, but the damage has already been done. So much devastation coming through on a Gangstars. Blazing Azars roll them completely. Dial out around the backline. Chases down Westo. Falls in the process. But it's done what they needed it to. Gangstars are forced out with 15% on the capture, comparatively to the 60% of Blazing Azars, and are only just now able to establish themselves coming back towards the objective. But Zexalos is already back, and Scorch Fernando is here to play. Fireball goes out, doesn't find much pressure there. Dialer takes the back of the map. Lian tries to chase him down, trying to hit around the shield, and they do. Siege Shield not able to put up the fight. Westo falls to Grafis. Dialer doing a lot of work in terms of damage there for the team. Oh, Enlightenment. Not available just yet. Could be used to save their life if necessary. Presence could be used for some collateral damage here as well. Skozas gets chewed through by Grafis. And Bomb King is doing work in this game so far. Early capture to Blazing Azars under 2 minutes. This one's looking to be a fast one and over quickly, folks. Go ahead and check out the damage dealt just that so far. And actually, so far, is Dialer leading the charge for Blazing Azars with Drogos at the top right now for Gangstars. Sorcerer is able to do some work with their Samba rocket launcher. Not quite enough, as everybody else sitting very low on the charts just cannot make the difference. Grumpy Bomb thrown out. Chain Reaction has been used by Bomb King, though not Accelerant, so no stun comes through, and Sorcerer stays alive for the time being. Dragon Punch is channeled. Enlightenment used by Lian. Looking for somebody, anybody, but Immortal for Zexalos is already alive, and Fernando stays in the fight. Fireball thrown out. Down goes the Barrack to Dialer on Lian here. Shield thrown out, providing some zone, some sustain. Zexalos reduced to 400 health, but still a part of this fight, being rapidly healed up. Looks for the body block on Westo, who does end up immuning the King Bomb damage. They're reducing it by 90%, but everybody has been slain around the objective. Menschmeyer can't contest in enough time. Blazing Azars 2-0 Gangstars in 3 minutes flat. That is one of the fastest pushes I have seen in a long, long time, folks. Blazing Azars looking good here today. Woo! Itemization then between the two teams should be relatively apparent to you at this point. But Blazing Azars have it all. Gangstars, well, they haven't really got anything going on for them right now. One thing I am interested to see is Zexalos, with their loadout here for Fernando, is running Brand 4, which is why we saw the initial Master Riding come out before anything else. As we do appear to have Fernando's Flame Lance stuck on the background as a pause has come through from one of the teams. We're going to go ahead and I think just turn some of that volume down for you real fast so you don't get deafened. Now we can go back to Zexalos and look at the Fernando loadout here, as we do have the pause to just wait through before we're able to get back into the mix. Loadout-wise, able to go into Master Riding 1 early because of the card Brand 4 you can see in the bottom of the screen. Fireball reduces healing by 80% for 3 seconds. That is equivalent, almost, to Cauterize 3 for double the duration. In an early game team fight, if you can confirm Fireball damage onto multiple members, like we saw Zexalos do onto 3 in the very first Fireball they fired, that means that that massive 1,000 chunk of damage which went onto Sorcerer immediately on Drogos wasn't able to be healed up in enough time, and alas, sound is back on, folks. No more Fernando in the background. See the impact of that being so valuable. Incinerate 4 as well, relatively standard, just reducing the cooldown of Fireball. Coming out in a big way. Also looking at Kamika's loadout real fast. Time Shaper 4 in there as well. Wind Dancer 3 is going to be the big one for me. I want to see Kamika with Wind Dancer 3 enable some big fights with protection coming through. And you saw that as Zexalos dives into a position where they can shield up their team. Tries to throw out the Fireball, but very low on health. Must retreat from the fight. Dialer holds the high ground here. Looks for some poke with Presence on Skozas. Finds it. Grace keeps them mobile, says Neil. Didn't see the ultimate animation there coming through, but used Enlightenment, finding some damage towards Menschmeyer as well. And really good play overall for Dyla on a 12 streak, opening up the fight as Lian and keeping it broken wide open. Kamika with the Wind Dancer, Torvald protection on the Fernando enables him to dive straight towards the backline, sets up here on the front line. Looking for some initial dismounts. Capture, comeback mechanic is now in favor of Gangstars. If Gangstars can set foot on the objective, they're going to be able to capture with 4% per tick compared to the 3% per tick that Blazing Azars have right now. But at 90% and rising, it's up to Menschmeyer to try and close the gap to contest this one, but nobody is able to. Even Ash is too late with Shoulder Bash, distracted around the peripheral, and it's just complete capitalization to the side of Gangstars. No, Blazing Azars, Gangstars unable to get anywhere close there. Dyla at last falling to Skozas, but little victories, not enough to turn the tide of battle, and Grafis will eventually maybe hit a sticky bomb. Good grief, not what we're used to seeing, but again, Gangstars unable to get a foot on the objective. Blazing Azars, despite not having the comeback mechanic, despite that going in favor of their opponents, this doesn't matter. Great zoning came through, love the positioning from Torvald. Kamika did perish during that last team fight, but is now back in the mix of things, keeping their team alive. Oh, protection a second off cooldown, wasn't able to save Grafis as reversal came through. Now Blazing Azars are going to back off. They'll wait for their ultimates to be charged. They'll wait for all members, as they did just lose 2, and try and find the opportunity to break the hold of Gangstars, which is now being slightly more established. This is an important period of time for Gangstars, though. Gangstars have the opportunity to set up a forward defense here. They have a barrack. They can get themselves entrenched. They can put themselves in a good position maybe to also use ultimates, of which they currently have 5 available to maintain momentum, but they might not need to, as Scotus snags Dyla. Overextension solo from the Lian towards the peripheral of this fight there. Always got to watch your back when a master flanker such as Skozas is around, and a legendary reputation they have for their Mave play, and Androxus as well, one of the first players in the European region to really pioneer them in competitive play after we saw the semi-auto changes come through onto Androxus. Another step is down, looks the reversal reset, is unable to find it. A lot of trouble now. Hyper Beam thrown out by Kamika. Doesn't find a kill conversion off the back of that, but Navron is eventually slayed by a long-range projectile. Zexlos engages with their fireball, 2 seconds off cooldown. Slays Menschmeyer, has 2 seconds until their dash, can charge into the backline to try and finish off a low-health target. But there is nobody to go for. Instead, takes the high ground, looks for Saucer. Bomb King sets up a bit of a pincer flank here. Nice protection from Torvald as well. Easy slay for Grafis, punished in response. But even so, Dyla is able to pick up the slack there and continue this conversion rolling through. Menschmeyer here on the defense for Gangstars, forcing the Dome Shield. Dyla able to receive some healing, following protection as well, stays alive. Channeled is Dragon Punch now as well. Saucer tries to make things happen, but a masterful Immortal from Zexlos stops that from really capitalizing on anything until Skozas is able to clean up the kill. So yeah, trade for trade right there. But now Skozas is able to find a double. Look for the triple as Dyla is low in the back line, but is in a lot of trouble here. Big reversal comes through, does pick up the triple kill, but Dyla still slaying on the front line. Bubbled by Torvald, Navron goes down to a double kill from Kamika, but the defensive respawns are coming through from Gangstars, and they look to be able to hold here for just a second. Zexlos has the fireball damage. The brand anti-heal comes through. Grafis returns to the mix. Can we see the 4-0 from Blazing Azars here? Skozas is back in the fight. Fireball could be big here from Zexlos, but they perish, and just barely Skozas stays alive to be eliminated by Dyla. It's a back and forth mix. Enlightenment is ready. Double kill for Dyla. Will they use it here to try and finish off Menschmeyer? No! Menschmeyer is able to stay alive. Barrack sustains through the fight and keeps that team in the mix of things. No 4-0, they say to Blazing Azars. Gangstars do end up with a defense. Now 3-1 in favor of Blazing Azars, and the objective capture scoreline. Gangstars have the opportunity to make a comeback. That just seems a little bit bizarre to me that Blazing Azars held something in the tank. They had Lian with Enlightenment. The respawns were coming through. I would have liked to see that maybe used to blast Barrack down. Deal with them very quickly there, rather than letting the respawn proximity advantage that Gangstars had really tie back into things. Itemization-wise, triple Wrecker online. Level 3 for Grafis. Level 3 Cauterize for Dyla and Zexlos. But Skozas now matches that for Gangstars. So tying that up nicely. Westo shortly to follow. Gangstars not too far out of this fight just yet. Interesting to see Menschmeyer keep something in the tank, though. We'll see if Gangstars are able to mount a comeback here and bring themselves back into the game, as they are down 3-1, as we said. They do have comeback mechanics still. are losing a lot of health very quickly. As Dialet's making the plays, pokes out one member immediately. Scotus slays Zexlos in response, but is forced out the fight with a long-range damage from Lian. Presence is ready. Scotus forced into reversal. Finds a snapshot. There's the field study bonus damage coming through from Torvald as well. And Dialer's looking for more as Menschmeyer very low is eliminated by Grafis around the corner. Presence going to miss. Dialer continues. Grafis throws up the long-range stickies onto Sorcerer in the air. Again, Dialer gets killed for that. Same story as last time, folks. Gangstars have capture advantage. They have the comeback mechanic in their hands. They had the ultimates. Blazing Hussars just win on mechanical gameplay. Now are set out to zone. Watch out for Hyper Beam from Torvald. Kamek is setting up in position. Menschmeyer very low on health. Could be silenced out here if they try and run through. Hyper Beam is ready. 87% and rising on the objective of Blazing Hussars. Enlightenment by Land secures another kill. Saucer tries to go in with Dragon Punch, but too little too late. Blazing Hussars just zoned too well. No coordinated comeback from Gangstars there. Red team claim victory. Game number 1. Overall, folks, that was just masterful play by Blazing Hussars. And disappointing counterplay by Gangstars, I think, being the key crucial area for me. We saw Scotus go off a few times on Androxus. Sure, Saucer picked up 70,000 damage, all respectable scorelines, all respectable stat lines. What I wasn't seeing during that game was coordination, specifically on point retakes once there was a lot of zoning coming through from Blazing Hussars. There was no focus. It was a bit of a snowball of like, oh, we got to reach the objective, let's all kind of EU conga straight towards it without really coming to terms with them thinking how they needed to do so. Looking for the priority picks. All right, there's a Torvald. They're overextended. Let's take them down. Then we can use Ash to put pressure onto Lian and stop them from free firing for the duration of that game, because free fire she did, and Dialer picked up 17, 5, and 12 as a slash line. And 88,000 damage, the highest in the game overall. Moving into map number 2, which will be on your screens momentarily, folks. I think the big adjustment that I want to see come out of Gangstars here is target prioritization and target focus come through. In that game, they just didn't seem to really know what to do. They had a lot of incoming pressure from Zexlos and Kamika, a lot of shields to deal with, a lot of damage which was difficult to confirm onto hypermobile protection shields as well in the form of Sorcerer, so maybe Menschmeyer picking up a Rekka would have been valuable there to a degree. But I want to see them pick a target, say, all right, this is the problem, let's get rid of them first. Or this is the problem, they're being enabled by Torvald, let's find a way to take out Torvald first. Maybe that will produce a different result. Regardless, map number 2 is ready for us, champions. Let's go ahead and see where we'll be heading to. Second map of this set, Blazing Hussars taking the 4-1 scoreline on map number 1 on Serpent Beach. It is off to Pip's hometown of Brightmarsh, which we do head next, so a different change in map dynamics. Still split verticality, which I like, but a very enclosed point fight, so AoE damage and frontline does reign supreme here to a degree. Interesting to see if, though, maybe some more mobile champions like Maeve come out and play, or if Maeve and Ruckus might even be banned out on this map. They'll be wanting to deal with their ability to traverse the high to low ground and appear when you least appear where you least expect them. All things being said and done, folks, we're just about ready. Champion draft for map number 2. Brightmarsh in this best of 3 semi-final set between Gangstars and Blazing Hussars is ready. Gangstars with the first pick, first ban. Well, they immediately take away the Maeve. Though we will not be seeing old blades on the battlefield today, and Blazing Hussars say, well, you know what, we just don't want to see McCullough. We don't like McCullough at this point. Banned in game number 1, also banned in game number 2. No need to deal with that. Gangstars, though, they're stripping away the Bomb King this time, going through to a first pick. They want to deal with Grafis on that. Blazing Hussars in response, they're happy enough to snap up Ash and Torvald. Was Gangstars letting Torvald go through to Blazing Hussars maybe more dangerous than letting them have the Bomb King? Gangstars have to have a stellar Bomb King player on their team to make this work. Barak and Janus drafted next. Relatively standard pick so far for the map of Brightmarsh. Blazing Hussars have a double frontline online so far. Drafting Cassie is safe damage now. Good shield kill potential, good 1v1 potential. And Maldumba leaving their last pick open here. I like it. There is sniper potential, but not really the map for it. Maybe a Drogus if there isn't a significant counter to them, or maybe even triple frontline if the composition demands it. Gangstars then draft the Ruckus in response, and Androxus. But keeping Scotus on that, making sure that where they feel comfortable with flanks, maybe here on Brightmarsh they'll find more success than they did on Serpent Beach, as well. Scotus did pull out 9, 12, and 5 and 47,000 damage. They weren't doing the legwork which they really needed to in the previous game. Final pick comes through for Blazing Hussars. They say, all right, you're drafting a flanker. Instead of drafting a Drogoz and AoE damage, we'll take AoE in the form of Water's Field and pull out a Nara as their final pick composition. Gangstar's lineup is made up of Bomb King, Barak, Genos, Ruckus, and Androxus, blazing his eyes with Ash, Torvald, Cassie, Maldumba, and Inara. Double frontline versus triple frontline. Let me know in Twitch chat who you think is going to come out on top, as we have 2 minutes on the clock once again, champions, and we get ready to head through to game number 2. This best of 3 semi-final set between Gangstars and Blazing Hussars coming up next on Bright Marsh. Welcome back to map number 2 then, champions. Gangstars down 1 game, look to mount a comeback. Will they be able to do so with the first pick Bomb King, or will Blazing Hussars maintain their momentum and take this one in a 2-0 sweep? Well, let's find out in just a moment. But before that, our legendaries. Gangstars still fighting out of the blue corner here. Still on the left-hand side of your spectator UI, led by Navron on Celestial Touch, Genos, Skozis this time on Godslayer Androxus, Menschmeyer, 360 on Tinker and Barak, Sorcerer on Chain Reaction Bomb King, Aerial Assault Ruckus for Westone. Blazing Hussars leading the charge. It's the Vacuum on Spirit Chosen Maldumba. Grafis on Battering Ram Ash. Tyler on Mother's Grace Inara. That's a bit of a change from the Lian we saw them on last game. Zexlos on the Cassie they're known for, and Kamika still on the field studied Torvald. Initial picks coming through. You can see that it's triple cauterize for Gangstars, double cauterize for Blazing Hussars, double Chronos coming through. Will it be enough to keep Zexlos mobile? And really important observation here is that Inara often picked up in close quarters maps as a counter to Cassie due to her ability to cripple out dodge roll. Now on the same team as Cassie, could be in a lot of trouble, but actually no, it's Inara that goes down for first blood. Skozis shatters them with the Shatter, more legendary weapon, turns them in a crystal, and now looks for damage on the Cassie, finds the flick, Nether Step is available, can they reload? Doesn't make it through the portal window, and now in a lot of trouble. Kamika will run them down with their blue balls of death. Lands maybe some extra onto Navron, finds the Slay for the second kill in a row. Kamika here doing good work for Blazing Hussars, who take a 54% initial advantage on this objective. No sign of it slowing down as well. Inara briefly protected with Torvald's protection. An impasse could be used here to block off the enemy's avenue of entry to this objective as it rises upwards of 84% on capture. 10 seconds left. Cripple could be used. Waters field does go down. Dilo gets into the backline, tries to shut down Sorcerer, and finds the frag as Kamika takes down Sorcerer. Grafis took down Skozis, and on the objective, Zexlos finds a double kill as Cassie, remaining hyper nimble on this champion. Overtime is ticking. Gangstars shut down. Blazing Hussars take the initial advantage. And the first capture of the game in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Push the payload, says Bruce Buffer, and if you haven't already picked it up, you know what? I'm not a follower of UFC by any means, but the more I listen to this announcer pack, the more I dig it in the background, add some inspiration to our plays. Currently available in the VIP store, and Zexlos feels like they're using it as well, carrying on a 5 streak. Dodge rolls in, lands the bonus exaction damage onto Androxus midair, can't find the blast shot, cancel combo, but is able to land some additional Pokemon towards Westo here. Dodge rolls for it, looks, but doesn't find the reset. Gotta be careful as Grumpy Bomb could stun them out and end their life very quickly, but Zexlos does stay alive. Grafis tries to throw up some initial damage through the porthole window just to blast our opponents aside through time and space. Interesting channel from Janus there. Not really sure what Navron was looking for in that instance, but Gangstars have at least been able to stabilize here and are starting to buy themselves some time on defense with 1 minute and 33 seconds left on the clock. Big kill into Inara is going to help out as well. Goes is finding headshots on Androxus, just going to poke out enemies from range. Blazing Hussars need to wait for some respawns to come through. Need to regroup here and find the opportunity to break the base of Gangstars if they want to go for a 2-0 conversion, as we saw them do in game number 1. Now, how can they do so? Well, they've got 4 ultimates available currently. Skozis is trying to box out versus Kamika. Sunday we're gonna, says the Baku as Dread Serpent comes through, and it's a bit of a mishmash of ultimates on the objectives. No, the Baku was stunned out earlier, now able to find the capitalization, but it's too little, too late. As Westo's picked up a double kill on Ruckus and looks to convert that into a triple. Kamika forced to flee out of the objective area. Skozis gets kill credit for that one. Blazing Hussars through 2 ultimates to the wall. Scout and Dread Serpent unable to find anything. Gangstar's able to counter that out with just Dome Shield and a Hexafire. So an even trade so far. Westo on the high ground, looking for some damage, starts to throw initial poke out from the high ground. Positioning, I love this, just where Westo has located themselves here. So they're able to get a lot of visual information for that team coming through. Oh, King Bomb does come through onto Inara though. Nice seismic crash to provide CC immunity to be able to withstand that. And now Dyla advances forwards. Watersfield is in hand, just coming off cooldown now. 10 seconds until that's ready, but they can maybe set up a good kill here. Nice use of the Earthen Guard as well, keeping himself slightly more tanky, healing up. We'll deal with the turret if necessary. Going to be stunned out by the Bomb King's Grumpy Bomb here, though. But no follow-up damage really comes through. And now it's Torvald looking for the Hyper Beam conversion. Scott finds a double kill off the back of the map. There's Kamika. Skozis tries to counter with a Cursed Arm, but gets shut down by Grafis, asserting dominance on the objective. And it's just Westo who's trying to contest. Thrown away by the Poppy Bomb there. Saucer is able to pick up 1 kill in response, but Dyla's still on the objective. And Zexalos is looking for conversion. This is so devastating for Gangstars to be in, able to just find their way around the impasse wall. Menschmeyer stalls out for a moment, and healing up with their turrets. Could stay alive. No, does end up falling here, and it's just an all-out brawl back once again on the objective, but respawn proximity advantages coming through in favor of Gangstars. Blazing Hussars keep themselves in it, but they're forced away by Poppy Bomb. Gangstars defend successfully, tied up now 1-1 on the objective. Different game to the last one, certainly. No more snowball, they say, for you. Able to find some purchase at last. Gangstars are able to get their Tier 2 offensive itemization online, which is good work for them. Tier 2 cauterize for Westo. Skozis though, deciding that it's more important to go into resilience. I actually like the resilience pickups for 2 members of Gangstars here as well, specifically because in the most recent patch, Torvald's silence was changed to have its duration modified by resilience. So instead of being an extended channel, which would last the full duration regardless of whether you had a 90% CC reduction or not, now that means Skozis is only going to be taking 60, or is going to be reducing the duration of that by 60%. Androxus caught out a lot less than otherwise would be, and Skozis here is out searching for a flank. Comes around from behind the enemy team, finds damage towards Nara. A lot of poke, empties the full clip, recognizes the Earthen Guard has come up, lands a couple of poke shots and retreats around a corner. Good initial play from Skozis, but Nara's back at full health. King Bomb comes through from Gangstar. Saucer looks for the damage, lands the stun onto Kamika and can find the kill. Will they be able to get the double onto Ash as well? No, Grafis shuts them down. 700 health remaining, and Menschmeyer falls 2 to Dyla. Good work so far as round the corner, double kill for Dyla as Seismic Crash finds the damage on a Navron. And Blazing Hussars still maintain control of this objective fight, upwards now of 60%, whilst Gangstars were only able to achieve 36%. Skozis going to be run down by Dyla here. 1 reload comes through. Kamika gets kill credit for that. Back on the objective. Bit of a brawl as Menschmeyer tries to activate Dome Shield, but just nobody can find their way in. Dyla locks everybody off with impasse. Overtime is ticking, tied up 1-1 at 7 minutes and 15 in. No other way for this capture to go than Gangstars. And it just seems to be messy play. You know, Gangstars are dealing with triple frontline better than we saw, I think it was Team Cryptic in game number 3 on Serpent Beach of the set versus straight out of casuals deal with triple frontline. And indeed, triple frontline as well did relatively good work on the map 2 of Frog Isle, but, you know, Blazing Hussars right now just keep on holding the advantage. Dyla is doing some serious damage right now on Inara as well, hitting the 600 a pop with Field Study on them. and Gangstars aren't finding a way to get the kills they need to and stay alive in the process, although this might be it. Accursed Arm is activated in the backline. Skoses can't find one, but Menschmeyer opens up the fight. Still, those Xlos dodge rolls around the side, and Graffitis converts on one kill. Cassie lands the bonus damage extraction shot on towards Ruckus, waits for them round the corner. I like the lack of overextension which is coming here, playing very safe as Xlos and retreats to land some additional poke towards Westo. Blazing Azars don't find really anything off the plays which just happened there, but they don't lose much either. Retain with 1 minute and 24 seconds left on this payload push. A good 60% advantage so far on that push duration. We had members return. Cassie activates Scout, looking for a way in. Maldama throws out Dread Serpents. No kills achieved just yet, but Menschmeyer is brought down very low, and Xexlos finds the execute. Looking now for Navran in the backline to Westo. The tension flicking between player to player. Emitter bursts down in just 2 shots by Xexlos. King Bomb being activated by Saucer. In response, does find a stun onto Dyla, but again, no kill potential brought off the back of that ultimate. And this time around, Blazing Hussars look good for conversion as the ultimates are coming online. Keep your eye on Dyla. Seismic Crash hits 2. Menschmeyer falls to Graffitis right here, but in response, bringing out the big guns. Westo tries to make things happen with Hexafire, but it just doesn't come through. Skoses is able to clean up Dyla in response. There's the reversal reset coming through, and no, Saucer able to clean up Kamika after Graffitis took out Skoses. Big chain reaction damage as well. 25 seconds left on this clock. Blazing Hussars didn't find the push that they were looking for here. Gangstars with respawn proxy advantage and good combination of ultimates hold themselves back in this fight.
15 seconds remaining.
10 seconds on the clock, folks. Blazing Hussars have got to find a way to this payload if they want to take it to overtime. With Dyla already getting poked out and having used 2 of their key abilities, is it going to be worth it? A big sticky bomb trap is set up to detonate on Dyla. If they try and force their way through, nice combo damage from Saucer as well as the trap is activated, but Kamika throws them off the edge with Hyper Beam. Skoses picks up a double kill there, a triple kill for Skoses on Androxus as everybody in Blazing Hussars goes down. Gangstars defend successfully. Beautiful play by Saucer though. Grumpy Bomb with the exact timing, knew that they've got a 4-second fuse as they're running chain reaction, the detonate bonus damage legendary, throws it out with only a couple seconds left to go. Ash shoulder bashes in, gets stunned. As the battering ram CC immunity expires, Inara gets stunned, Tall gets stunned, all standing on those pre-play stickies, so massive chain reaction damage comes through. And Blazing Hussars don't find the pressure they were looking for. Gangstars are able to defend. Items then on your screen, all tied up. Skoses sitting on the level 3 of resilience. Well, the CC reduction coming through right now, so as we saw a triple kill coming through for them in that defense previously, expect Skoses to start to step up their level of play. If they're able to, currently sitting 3rd on the damage charts, about to overtake Cassie. But leading the charts is Sorcerer, and this time around, Gangstars get themselves onto the objective quickly, try and get themselves established, and don't give any ground towards the Inara, who's dominated the point fight previously for the past 2 rounds. Rumpy Bomb thrown out. Also holds the advantage. Menschmeyer stands strong, has a turret available, avoiding the Waters field from Inara here is a good look, but Xexlos finds a double kill in the backline and tries to convert that into a triple. Has the somersault reset, has to be careful of Saucer, but receives a massive amount of healing coming through from Maldamba there with Mending Spirits. There's just a couple of crucial shots on the Skoses, but they've done the work they needed to, and Skoses is caught high and dry by Graffitis playing this Ashe frontline champion. Sent back to base. 78% and rising for Blazing Hussars on the objective. 11 minutes and 40 seconds in. No easy way for them to get back right here. Graffitis is doing such a good job at zoning with the rest of that team. Just having to brawl out, protected by Kamika whenever necessary. And despite Gangstars able to get some early pressure onto the objective, they just will not be able to get the capture. Blazing Hussars take it for a 3rd time in a row, folks. Beautiful play, beautiful work. Blazing Hussars now have the opportunity to close out Game 2 and the set indeed if they can find a conversion for the first time this game. Maldamba with Dread Serpent picks this fight off. Kamika with an early kill into Menschmeyer after Saucer was forced out, leaves him in a good position. Baku in a lot of trouble here though, could be immediately exploded by Saucer if the King Bomb does detonate where they need it to. Saucer finds the stun onto Inara. She mistimes her seismic crash. And that's a nice counter play coming through from Gangstars as they don't detonate too early this time. They do end up getting the stuns they need to be able to hold strong on defense. Missing a couple of members though. Navron does retreat for the time being, holding themselves in good stead. Gangstars are steadily being forced back as the triple frontline of Blazing Hussars has returned to the realm. It was at this point previously that Skozas started to go off, and they're very low on health, but does find the slay on a Cassie. Oh, the Baku answers back, sends them back to base as the Maldamba rocking the latest Halloween skin to join the realm here. But will this pressure from Blazing Hussars be able to continue? Ashes uses their assert dominance on the objective area, right at the conversion point, trying to lock things down and distract, but again, in comes Hexafire from Westo. Doesn't find a single kill. Dome Shield is thrown out just to defend here, and Saucer go big. In combination with Skozas and Menschmeyer, it looks like they will be able to. Legendary taken down for Inara as well. Her Waters Field eliminated. Viola Parrish is going back to base. Just want to have a quick look at those legendaries again. Viola actually swapped over to Mother's Grace on Inara there, so looking to go for a more sustained-based loadout. I think I observed earlier due to the smaller size of Waters Field, but no cripple is actually available, so unable to lock down the aerial assault Ruckus or Androxus where necessary. Might be a decision that comes back to haunt them. And Dyla again needs a face full of CC there, getting set up by a stun from Grumpy Bomb. Ricky's being thrown out all the while. The Cursed Arm opens up this fight once again as Skozas goes to the backline, finds what looks like it's going to be a double kill on Androxus. Will they find the triple? Looks for the damage onto Maldamba, but no, Westo steals that away. Double for the blue team here as Gangstars capitalize on defense. 1 second remaining, overtime is not ticking. Gangstars defend successfully. Menschmeyer steals away the punch kill for Androxus. There's no defiance for you. We're all tied up here, champions. 3-3 on the objective. 14 minutes and 27 seconds in, this game has come down to the wire. And again, folks, so far, Blazing Hussars have dominated every single capture objective throughout the duration of this game. With Gangstars getting that late game itemization online, I mean, we're tier 3 offensive items for a round at least now. No real change there. Comes down to positioning play and utilization of ultimates if Gangstars want to have a chance here. And this is do or die for the blue team. If Gangstars can't find a capture, they're going to be shut out in just 2 games in this set, and they'll be relegated to the bronze match for this week. Will Blazing Hussars be able to take the advantage? Let's find out. A lot of Chronos coming online for the red team as well, but Skozas again looks for a flank play, and this time they're straight to the back line. Last time around, they focused primarily on Inara. This time, Skozas might have found Maldamba out of position. Love the use of the 3D mount perspective, just biding that time. Skozas is waiting for the opportunity, finds a big grouping of players, but no, Maldamba, the reactive Dread Serpent, does send them away, but no, it's onto a CC immune or CC reduced target as resilience keeps them alive. Good play by Kamika, and the Baku, though, does keep Dyla alive, very low on health, and Kamika picks up the first kill in this fight. But Saucer has their number, is looking for the damage. Impasse blocks off the angle momentarily. Will Gangstars be able to find some capitalization in this fight? Skozas picks up 1 kill in response, but in dodges Zexalos. Hoisted into the air, does get taken down by Saucer, and the big chain reaction damage starts to come through. Saucer has King Bomb available. Blazing Hussars at 60% on the objective. Has the opportunity for them to come through and go in for a comeback here, and that's exactly what Gangstars are looking for. Double kill for Skozas. Menschmeyer slays Dyla. Ash does manage to assert dominance on the objective, but a massive Poppy Bomb throws them away, and chain reaction damage from Saucer sends them to an early grave. Gangstars now rising upwards of 72% on capture, are accelerating far beyond Blazing Hussars. Gorzig says Cassie, but the 3 immobile frontline of Blazing Hussars have no way to get back towards the objective. In comes King Bomb. Hyper Beam doesn't find anything, and Gangstars find the capitalization. They find the conversion on the capture and get themselves a win in this set, tying things up 1-1. What a comeback, ladies and gentlemen. And by far, that last play, that entirety of the last opportunity set up for me by Skozas and Saucer of Gangstars. Skozas 23-12 on Androxus, 111,000 damage right there. A very impressive slash line, and even though Saucer didn't get quite as many kills, plenty of assists to their name, and in fact, the second lowest deaths on their team at, I say just, but just 10 comparatively. And these 2 players working in tandem were able to do such a large amount of work. Skozas provided a great deal of backline distraction, forcing ultimates like Dread Serpent out of the Baku onto a target who has 90% CC duration reduction. Reactive play, sure, but didn't seem to be the right one for the moment. And baiting out ultimates like that gave Gangstars a heavy advantage. It leveled the playing field between these 2 teams in the final round. And to me, that's what really mattered. It wasn't the fact that Skozas went in and got a ton of frags right at the beginning. It's that Gangstars were able to have Blazing Hussars distracted. Blazing Hussars needed to feel like they had to watch their back the entire duration. They wasted ultimates on trying to close out kills and weren't able to. And as a result, Gangstars were able to take an inch, turn it into a mile, and are now ready for map number 3 in our draft today. All tied up, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen Blazing Hussars take map number 1 of Serpent Beach. Map number 2 of Brightmarsh went to Gangstars, and it is to the sunny shores of Frog Isle, where we will be closing out today. So without further ado, we know where the match will be taking place, but let's see what champions will be gracing the battlefield with us today as we head through to the champion draft for map number 3 on Frog Isle. Gangstars retaining the first pick throughout the duration of this game. We'll go with a Ruckus ban this time around. Interestingly enough, they used Ruckus to good effect in the last game. Of course, we're still running that 9, 12, and 22 was their slash line. Blazing Hussars say if it's not broke, don't fix it, and we just don't want to play into Makoa. Please keep your dredge anchor away from us. First big Bomb King then for Gangstars, repeating the draft from last game. Torvald and Barrick elected to be the frontline choice of Blazing Hussars this time around. I like this. It's relatively neutral. Barrick obviously good at defending an objective by themselves due to the amount of deployable nightmare distraction which their turrets provide, and Torvald is generally just a good supplement to the team. Gangstars respond with Maldamba and Ash, making sure that this time around they retain Dread Serpent. I think that's a good decision because that can be used to force players out of Barrick's Dome Shield. So there is a degree of counterplay coming through at this point. Early Janos pick up for Blazing Hussars here, and a Lian as well. Ooh, a lot of bonus damage composition potential coming through for this team. Not sure how I feel about the Lian right now, but they're saving AoE damage in the pocket in case Gangstars try and go for maybe a triple frontline composition, but they don't. They draft Cassie and Anara to round things out. The last pick comes through for Blazing Hussars, and it is the Drogos, and I like holding off until Drogos right at the end. Of course, Androxus was available throughout the duration of this draft, and if Andrew was taken by Gangstars, if they have a player of a similar caliber to Skosis on their team, probably Dylar, I think, would be the one to play that. Well, probably not going to want to run the Drogos into that composition. Regardless, though, champions, the drafts are set and ready. 2 minutes back on the clock. Game number 3 of Gangstars versus Blazing Hussars in the semi-finals of this ESL Paladins Go4 Cup begins after the break. Well then, third time is a charm for either one of these teams. All tied up here in game number 3 on Frog Isle. Gangstars versus Blazing Hussars go head-to-head for the final time today. Of course, I am Hi-Rez Vox. Joining me, well, Gangstars retaining that first pick position. They're sticking with the blue team alignment. They'll be led by Menschmeyer 360 on Treacherous Ground Inara, Westo with Battering Ram Ash, Saucer on Chain Reaction Bomb King Navron on Spirit's Chosen Maldamba, not the Janus we have seen previously, and Skosis this time on Exaction Cassie. No Mave pulled out, actually. Interesting observation. Blazing Hussars then. Grafis is leading them with Combustible Drogo. Zexlos on Precision. Lian, the back on Celestial Touch. Janos, Kamika on Field Study. Torval and Dyla. Anchor and Barrack. Looking for initial frag potential. Dyla rushes the objective. Rocket boots away to take down Saucer as Grumpy Bomb was zoning them out a little bit. And the early capture advantage goes through to Blazing Hussars. As now with Menschmeyer being poked out very low as well, there's no chance of Gangstars being able to contest here. Really good play so far from Blazing Hussars. Can they continue this as Dyla looks for a bit of flank potential and sets up some forward zoning? Oh, actually, misplay from Dyla comes through that. Nice positioning of impasse from Menschmeyer, forces them to jump off the map to try and escape from them. But in response, Zexlos does take down Menschmeyer. Bit of an even trade coming through, 87% for Blazing Hussars, so very far on the capture objective. And now Gangstars have managed to find a way back in. Mickey Bombs being thrown out from range by Saucer, who saw them do work in the previous game. Is it going to be enough for Gangstars to claim victory this time around? 30% in climbing. Dyla does begin to rejoin the objective. A lot of poke coming out from Zexlos on Lian. Looks for damage on a Cassie, finds the 400 shot, but goes as rapidly, heals up again. Zexlos though turns things around with a headshot, 1v1 duel going on the peripheral this map as Dragon Punch comes through and Grafis takes down Westo. Looks to join their team and finds the double kill as Skozas perishes to the damage from their fire spit. Will they get a triple kill here as well? No, the timer has elapsed, but still 3 in a row for Drogos. As stunned out, they got to watch out for Saucer's incoming damage as Bomb King now, but no, Saucer doesn't get onto the objective in enough time. The stunned out Drogos is enough for the capture. Blazing Hussars takes point number 1 in this game in 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And look to push. Misplay from Gangstars to not close the gap fast enough. Lack of objective mindset there coming through. Something that has to be changed if Gangstars want to pull out a victory in game number 3. So starting off as it kind of always has done. Watch out for the gore down on the objective right now. Looking nice and purple, showing the enemy colors or showing the blue team's colors in spectator mode. The new Mal down the skin. Grafis continues to look for damage on Drogos, but it's Lian who I want to keep my eye on right now. Amica setting up some forward pressure, could move into a position where they're able to hyper beam enemies off the map here. Gangstars have to be very careful, maybe interrupt that with Dread Serpent. Zexlos is ready with Enlightenment. That's the key skill which I'm looking for. I want to see that used here early. I don't want to see Enlightenment held in the tank. Use it to immune crowd control, use it to immune damage maybe coming in from King Bomb if that's a skill or an ultimate which is activated to contest this payload as it creeps up towards conversion now though. But Torvald throws out Hyper Beam. Kamika picks up a double kill. In goes Saucer with King Bomb, but Dome Shield provides the mitigation necessary and Kamika finds 3 in a row. Full team wipe comes through. Goodness me, that's giving me the stutters right there as Blazing Hussars dismantle their opponents. And it just seems to happen every single time on Frogar with Torvald, right? Why do people move in front of Hyper Beam? Every single time. Question I ask myself many, many times in my casual and ranked games alike. And something Gangstars need to be asking themselves if they don't want to fall for the same trick twice. Now, ultimate-wise, a lot was thrown at the wall during that last round. Tier 2 offensive itemization is up for Blazing Hussars. Gangstars unable to match that. The important point here, though, is that whilst Blazing Hussars used almost all of their ultimates to go for conversion in that previous round, Gangstars used a lot of theirs to defend. Westo, the only player close to having their ultimate ready, alongside Menschmeyer, I guess to a degree on Gangstars, didn't even have theirs charged and available to defend during that last push. And I think that was a big deal breaker. But Zexlos tries to kick things off with another kill to Menschmeyer. Kamika lands the slave as Zexlos goes on a 13 streak and steals away that Cassie kill with grace. What a player. Dragon Punch comes in from Grafis, looks to land the damage. Actually just going to get that one up. Everybody's too far away and instead retains 30% of their ultimate charge as Blazing Hussars convert their initial capture advantage, now upwards of 30%. Frontline forced away for Gangstars. No easy way to make their way in. A big seismic crash does stun out Dyla, and the Waters Field does actually land the cripple as well, so Dyla could be in the potential of falling here, but no, out comes the barricade. Menschmeyer's the one in trouble this time around. They're hit by a big fire spit and eliminated by Grafis with a single kill coming through there. Drogo's on a 10 streak, lands the detonation spray, looks to get a fire spit onto Navron as well. No damage connecting thanks to the damage immunity from Slither. But it's 72% and rising, and a field-studied Torvald bubble with Wind Dancer 3 for the extra movement speed, getting Grafis out of danger of the Grumpy Bomb stun. It's a good look for Blazing Hazards to cap. Look at the disengage though. Engagement comes through from Gangstars. They back off, channel Dragon Punch, and Grafis goes on a 12 streak right now. Taken out of the air, but doesn't even matter. Ash tries to stall out on the objective, but she has no ultimate left, and Silenced Out is in so much trouble, taking so much damage. Kamika gonna get the credit for that slay right now, going unstoppable on an 11 streakers Torvald. Zexlos going unstoppable too on a 20 streakers Lian. This is just demolition of Gangstars right now, and another capture rolling through for Blazing Hazards. Hazard, they may be saying relatively soon here, folks, if this play keeps on continuing. Dial opens up the fight with a kill on a Sorcerer, and Zexlos is able to take down Skozas. 1 for 2, or 2 for 1 in favor of Blazing Hazards. The pressure continues, and Gangstars are forced to withdraw towards their base, wait for some respawn so their damage is alive, and then maybe they can regain some pressure versus this Blazing Hazards squad. All the while, the Baku on Janus has been escorting this payload, drawing out their astral marks towards enemies where necessary. Oh, out comes the Hyper Beam from Torvald as well. And sinking like the Stone Warden she is, down goes Menschmeyer. Big Grumpy Bomb stun could set up a couple of kills here, but no, it just doesn't matter. Sorcerer comes in with the Dread Serpent detonation. Is it going to be enough to find 1 kill? Zexlos does perish, but Dyla answers back. The Baku is still alive, keeping everybody tanked up and healthy, thanks to their Astral Mark here as well. Grafis receiving an extra one of those. Cripple Grip is ready if necessary, or rather just the grip here, and Skozas could perish that if not careful. Gangstars able to hold on for the time being thanks to the respawn proximity advantage they have. But now Dyla boxes out versus Sorcerer masterfully, receiving the bonus damage from Torvald's Field Study and the Astral Mark from Janus. Menschmeyer left contesting. 2v1 with Westo there as well. But Westo's now going to dive on in through time and space is channeled. And Ash shoulder bashes straight past the objective, giving that one away for free. Tries to contest, tries to hit a player, but too little too late. Blazing Hazards get the 4-0 conversion. They take the series, they take the set, and advance to the finals to face off against Straight Outta Casuals. Looking at the endgame scoreboard for this game, folks, Sorcerer was the saving grace for their team. They were doing some work, 38,000 damage, 6-8-0. It wasn't enough. Skozas seemed counted out at every single angle. There was no pressure onto the back line of the Blazing Hazards squad at any given point in time. The Baku went 2-2-12. 53,000 damage, 53,000 healing, excuse me. Not a huge amount of healing, but thanks to Kamika's protection shields onto all the members of Blazing Hazards, not a lot of damage to heal up. And even though there were champions that could put pressure onto the backline of Blazing Hazards, such as Cassie, such as Ash, in the lineup of Gangstars, Kamika made all the difference. Sure, Zexlos went on a 22 streak this round, 9-1-17. But they were enabled by Kamika playing Torvald here. And that play was absolutely devastating. Looking back over their loadouts and items here, see that Kamika went to cauterize initially, started to get some resilience online. Their loadout was, of course, running Field Study as a legendary. Time Shaper 4, the big critical card in their loadout to reduce the cooldown of protection by 2 seconds. Have it up as much as possible. Vibe Sweat 1, Induction 1, Glyph of Health 3, making themselves slightly more tanky, very necessary now as the recharge nerfs on Torvald mean that they rely less on their personal shield and much more on their innate tankiness and health. But Wind Dancer 3, the other big one as well. Protection with Wind Dancer, with the bonus 30% movement speed for 2 seconds, and the extra 40% damage for the duration of protection, was what enabled Zexlos to make plays and turn fights around like they did on Lian, and Grafis as well, kept alive through Dragon Punches. We remarked earlier during this tournament, we weren't seeing Dragon Punch and Immortal used in combination to try and keep Drogas alive through, the ultimate, which makes them so vulnerable when they try and connect it onto our frontline champion. This time around, Grafis got the shielding they needed, only 2 deaths throughout the entire duration of the game. Blazing Hazards looks so devastatingly strong in this set. And with that in mind, champions, we do now have our finalists ready to show you at last, and on your screen you can see them. Coming up next will of course be Straight Outta Casuals, the winners of the first upper bracket semifinals, and Blazing Hazards, the winners of the set versus Gangstars that we just watched. We're gonna have a short break whilst we do get things set up for the finals of the day, the last best of 3 set of the night. But in the meantime, we showed it earlier, the European recap for the PPL that happened last weekend, the very first week of professional Paladins competition. let's go ahead and check in with Hyra's Pretty Hair and see how NA fared across the pond.
Hello guys and welcome back. We had a very exciting day of competition in the North American PPL on Sunday. There was a lot of matchups that were just too close to call, so let's get into it and tell you what happened. A slugfest between Team Envious and Splice. Even Rainday and I couldn't agree on a favorite for this one, but Envious came out swinging with unfettered aggression that would earn them a 4-0 in Game 1. This trend continued onward through Game 2, and Envious would claim the first set victory of the North American Paladins Premier League. Our next match, we saw two OG rosters set to duke it out, SK Gaming versus G2 Esports. Now history tells us this would go the way of G2, but after being swept 3-0 in the PGS by the Renegades, a newer team, we knew anything was possible. G2, however, was on a mission to prove themselves still the top dog. They brutalized SK Gaming 4-0 victories for 2 games straight to find the win. Evil Eye had performances to strike fear in the hearts of all of North America. The third matchup on the day would have a bit of a roster drama to touch on. Now, despite a 3-0 sweep of G2 Esports in the PGS, the Renegades decided to move one of their great DPS players, Vandy, to the bench. Now, when I heard this, I about lost it. My fantasy lineup was ruined, and I was really excited for this guy to have his debut in the PPL, because he's been so great leading up to this moment that I felt he deserved it. But his replacement, Shady Shades, a veteran just about as near and dear to my heart, certainly gave me confidence in the Renegades' chances. It would all come down to a tense Game 3 on Stone Keep for all the marbles. Loki, now only the second newest member of the Renegades, had a ferocious performance on Shaolin. He wanted this win, but the Renegades went down 0-3, and it wasn't looking good for the Detroit-based squad, but they clawed their way back 1 point at a time, taking the game and the set. G2 and Splice were our last set of the day in North America. G2's performance continued to look infallible. Evil Eye remained on fire, but in Game 1, top play definitely went to Cuskutie's Genos, absolutely montaging Amos Torvald, not only countering, but shutting down Hyper Beam with through time and space. G2 only let their opponents on the board 1 time yesterday, and it was during Game 2 of this set. A 4-1 victory probably still tastes pretty good, as G2 claimed victories in both of their doubleheader sets. The standings in North America after Week 1 are as follows. G2 Esports with 2 victories and no losses. SK Gaming are 0-1. Renegades are 1-0. Splice are 0-2. And Envious rounding us out with a split, 1 win and 1 loss.
Thanks for watching. Want some more Paladins esports? Head over to facebook.com/PaladinsGame and make sure to subscribe to our Paladins Premier League and Paladins Global Series show pages. You'll get notifications sent directly to you, including new shows, VODs of the games, and other exclusive content.
At last it comes down to this then, champions. In 2 sets of semifinals, all go the way to the final third game. Now straight out of casuals, face up against Blazing Hussars in the grand finals of the Europe Cup number 25, Paladins ESL Go4 Series. Of course, still with you, same as always, my name is Hi-Rez Vox. We're about ready to start breaking things down. First and foremost, in our orders of business, it is of course the map draft. So let's go ahead and take a look and see where we'll be kicking this set off today. Bans are ready, the bans have come through of course for your maps. Off the table immediately. Now this looks familiar. Ice Mines and Timbermill. I'm sorry, is this we're watching a bit of HRX 2017 here because these are very, very old, atypical bans now within the Paladins competitive scene. There's a bit of an unofficial agreement, I think, which most players, or at least esports spectators, will observe within high-level gameplay, that nobody plays these matches. Nobody plays these maps. Nobody wants to deal with Ice Mines and Timbermill. Ice Mines more frequently played than Timbermill, I would say, just by maybe lower caliber teams facing a higher caliber team, because you often will be able to force a 3-3 game with equal itemization and might be able to win the game off of a lucky play or a point fight. But regardless of that, folks, they won't be coming to our map lineup today. No, the first map which we will be seeing is in fact none other than Frog Isle. We've seen a lot of Frog Isle coming through today. It's a very popular map, and a big part of that seems to be entirely because of the snowball which can be achieved here. Demonstrated magnificently in the previous game, which was a 4-0 by Blazing Hussars versus Gangstars. With that in mind, without further ado, our champion draft is ready. Will Torvald still be the priority pick here? Will it be a Bomb King early? Well, we'll just have to find out as we get into the champion draft. Well, game number 1 of our finals today here on Frog Isle. Right out of casuals. First ban, Blazing Hussars. Second, Koa and Torvald taken straight off the table. So, Torvald is being prioritized, but not for either team. They just don't want to deal with them. This leaves Maeve open. Straight out of casuals. They go straight for her. In response, another hotly contested pick that we saw earlier, Ruckus, taken off the table alongside Bomb King as well, so getting some AoE fragability online. I like the look so far from Blazing Hussars. Straight out of casuals respond with Ash and Barracks, so flank and double frontline locked in so far. Already picking the area damage in the form of Bomb King. Probably not going to go for a Drogas here, Blazing Hussars. They're going to lock in Fernando and Maldamba here. So they're getting their sustain online and saying, hey, you know, Janus, we don't want them. You can take the Luminary Janus. We want the burst heal from Maldamba and the Dread Serpent Disruption. Straight out of casuals, we'll grab Janus in response, alongside Charlene to lock off this long line of sights we talked about before on Frog Isle. Blazing Hussars, last pick comes through. Oh, Cassie as well. So a relatively safe pick, getting their direct damage online. Blazing Hussars' composition is relatively balanced here. They've got aggressive and utility-based frontline, AoE damage, direct damage, and a support. Straight out of casuals, well, they've got no big source of AoE damage. Sure, they've got Ash for the Cauterize application, but at the same time, they don't need the AoE damage. There are no big deployable nightmares to break up. With that in mind, folks, I want to hear your predictions in chat. Who do you think is going to take the advantage here? Are you giving it to straight out of casuals, or do you think that Blazing Hussars has taken the advantage initially with the draft? And how is the game going to pan out in your heads? 2 minutes on the clock once again. Game number 1 of this set will be starting momentarily. Let me know your predictions in the meantime, and we'll see you back again in just a moment. And so it begins, or maybe in about 35 seconds or so. This is Straight Outta Casuals versus Blazing Huzzahs. Game number 1 on Frog Isle. The finals of the ESL Go4Paladins Cup, number 25 for the region of Europe. And Megiddo says boo. Of course, it is Straight Outta Casuals on the left-hand side of your screen. They're leading with Diced Apples on Luminary Janos, Megiddo on Battering Ram Ash, K-Konas on Desert Shadow Charlene, Frog Blender on Artful Dodger Maeve, and King D Devil with Tinker and Barak. Their opponents today, Blazing Huzzahs, who blazed the previous set, have Kamika on Scorch, Fernando, the backer on Spirits Chosen, Maldamba, Zexlos with Exaction Cassie, Grafis on Chain Reaction, Bomb King, and Dialer on Aerial Assault, Ruckus. 2 Chronos for the team on the right-hand side. Blazing Huzzahs looking to blaze into this game. Initial high ground advantage taken by Straight Outta Casuals. Playing more passively as they know that K-Konas is likely to, or Kamika here is likely to dive them. K-Konas just looks for some initial poke onto the front line and back line of their opponents. Luminary buffed Charlene though. 1,150 damage out of every single regular arrow and so much more coming through potentially as well from those Desert Shadow shots. Got to be careful as Zex loses Cassie on the high ground, and Cassie is able to do a lot of poke damage out towards their opponents. Initially though, still in favor of the Maeve and Charlene right now. Frog Blender trying to play around in the backline of this fight, picks up first blood as they get the pounce combo to finish off Fernando. Now looking for damage towards Ruckus in the air, 700 health, and oh, Zexlos shuts them down, so an even trade. The capture advantage now going to the blue team. Can Zexlos find the damage onto... Oh, no, they can't. Not to Charlene. Ash ends their life. Battering Ram gets Megiddo out of danger. Places the shield down, steps behind it. Dada tries to take over on the objective as Ruckus. And again, K-Konas goes to this window spot, the break in the wall here on Frog Isle, where they can dish out damage a lot more safely. Blazing Huzzahs, though, are still taking advantage on the objective. Straight Outta Casuals are not finding a way in as they are being forced back by this aggressive frontline play from Kamika and Bomb King as well. He's doing a real good job of that so far. Looks to continue it. Nice body block as 93% of the objective has been captured by Blazing Huzzahs. Your sight fails, you said, Charlene, hitting the gas pedal, trying to go in, but Diced Apples goes down to Grafis right here. There's the opportunity to disrupt the objective as King Bomb is ready. Grafis sets up available for it, jumps into it. King Bomb is activated, looks for Maeve around the corner, tries to find Frog Blender, and gets the immediate detonation kill. Can't find the dismount on the Megiddo just yet. Megiddo does now turn their attention towards them, but on the objective, Zexlos is engaging onto Barak, trying to find the shutdown on the King D Devil. Dodge roll keeps them mobile. Grafis gets a shutdown play just as Dome Shield is activated. Out comes the Ash ultimate as well. Assert dominance on the objective from Straight Outta Casuals. They're holding themselves into play. 99 to 96% double kill for Megiddo. Shoulder bash is channeled, but Megiddo's health is at half right now, and they need the rest of their team for support. But slowly and surely, with Midnight in hand, Straight Outta Casuals can force back their opponents. Blazing Huzzahs lose it out, and Straight Outta Casuals come back out with a magnificent comeback play to capture the first objective of this game. And so far, folks, Frog Blender going up in the air, looks to find the long-range kill on his Zexlos, is able to get the detonation right there, and will find the quick kill. Just to let you all know, we are aware that there are some issues currently going on with the stream quality, some FPS problems which we are looking to resolve. We'll have to get those sorted out between games if I'm not mistaken. For the time being, we'll continue following along with Frog Blender, who's looking for more damage and distraction. The enemy backline finds a lot of damage. So Straight Outta Casuals, specifically Grafis on Bomb King. We have had a pause come through right now. So everything is stalled out. Everything is at an impasse. We have to wonder, folks, where will it go from here? Will we find more pressure? Potentially so. Or will Straight Outta Casuals not find the conversion? Will be meet their match? Whilst you are watching Frog Blender, going to quickly pull up their loadout because there are a lot of different Maeve loadouts being run in the current competitive scene. Be interesting to see which one takes the favor of Frog Blender right here. There seems to be a bit of a mix of many. Now, Street Cred is a relatively common card at ranks 2 or 3 for Maeve, increasing her health to above the 2-shot kill threshold with Haven of a champion like Charlene, who deals 1,000 damage per hit. Chase 2, often seen at the rank of Chase 3 for the increased movement speed during Prowl. Walking off 3 for the self-sustain. It's interesting to see the utilization of On Edge 2 in here as well. A lot of loadouts focus primarily on either Prowl, damage reduction, or 9 lives. So seeing a very split focus of Frog Blender, but I like the addition of Scar Tissue 2 in here, as the 10% damage reduction for 2 seconds after using 9 lives can be crucial in situations where Frog Blender wants to stay alive. You got to remember, folks, that is true damage reduction. That is not damage reduction versus direct or area of effect damage. That is damage reduction versus both kinds. Very valuable there indeed. As the game is about to unpause, we see it start to come through. Frog Blender continues to dish out damage. Looking for an angle to lock off Grafis if they can find him again. Make a nice easy double jump just to stay out of danger, but Barak activates their Dome Shield on the objective, tries to stay alive. King D Devil very low on health, throwing out the shots towards Kamika, who activates Immortal on the point. Dylan moves in as well, doesn't have Hexafire available, but is going to be able to really deal with King D Devil rapidly. And all the turrets are keeping King D Devil alive so well. Midnight activated by Maeve here as well. Scout used in response by Cassie. And Dread Serpent forces back King D Devil momentarily, but Kamika is so low on the objective, forcing in Cassie to try and sustain here. Zexlos rolls out of the way though, gives that one up for free, perishes anyway to King D Devil's turret. Straight out of casuals, they gain a 2-0 advantage in 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Randomization coming up on your screen then. Let's take a quick look and see exactly how things are going on. Now we do see tier 2 offensive randomization coming out between both of these teams, so it's closer than it otherwise would be. And this is of course good. If we were seeing the snowball advantage head heavily in favor of one team or the other, for example, straight out of casuals, the 2-0, Blazing Hussars would have an even more difficult time fighting into the amount of sustain they're able to output with Diced Apples. And speaking of sustain currently, Diced Apples with Luminary Genos losing the charge pretty significantly to the Baku on Maldamba here. Blazing Hussars are out healing their opponents, but straight out of casuals, well, they bring the damage, they bring the ruckus. Although they don't, because that's actually brought by Blazing Hussars. But still, you get the idea. Megiddo and Ash with some of the strong frontline defense. Good channel of shoulder bash here, but stunned out mid-assert dominance. Megiddo could be in a lot of trouble. Gets that ultimate down in just enough time and begins to sustain whilst they are damage immune currently. Wins hiding, says Charlene, but it just doesn't matter as Grafis finds the initial slay. Blazing Hussars look to try and capitalize on some of the confusion and find their way into straight out of casuals backline. King D Devil's so low on health. Zexalos dives in for it. Will they be able to pick up the kill? The Frog Blender, nice 9 lives heal comes through. And King D Devil stays alive thanks to their turret all the while. There's the blast shot for the 50% healing reduction, but King D Devil is still sustaining. And this Barak just does not want to die in this situation. Maybe it's because he's able to place the barricade with his back to the wall, make sure that the turrets are just sustaining and no cauterize can be applied. Blazing Hussars capture 85% of this objective, but now there is a potential for straight out of casuals to come back on through if they don't get disrupted by Grafis with the big grumpy bomb kill onto Megiddo, following up with chain reaction damage. And now it looks like this capture is going 100% of the way to Blazing Hussars. No way back in for straight out of casuals. Over in an instant. This is the gameplay which we expected to see out of Blazing Hussars in the first capture round, but didn't end up witnessing as straight out of casuals put on a masterful comeback. Overall so far, folks, it is just good all-around play coming out of this team as they continue to set up an onslaught of damage towards the enemy backline, making good use of Grafis with Rekka 2 to break up the shields which would otherwise be displacing them. Frog Blender finds a bit of a trade on the dial there, but Kamika and Zexlos begin to pick up kills of their own and look to go big in this fight. Zexlos low on health, now healed back up again by Maldamba. Dread Serpent thrown out for a bit of zone. Charlene goes immediately into there. Hayes here looks for the shutdown kill to Maldamba, finds it. Can they pick up a double kill, or will they be eliminated by Fernando? Nice trickery comes around, but appears that Ruckus now has their number. No, stays alive still, and Maeve takes over the chase. A good defensive play from Blazing Hussars this time around, keeps them in the game very easily. 1 minute and 23 seconds left on this payload push, and now Barak has been allowed to establish themselves. Bella does go up, throws out some missiles. Takes the turret down from Barak, and in comes Bomb King. Looking for a frag or two, maybe some setup potential with sticky bombs if they can get it. Chain reaction damage going to hit onto Maeve. Oh, Fernando forced into Immortal early there. Kamika in a bit of a peculiar situation. Dome Shield activated by Barak as well, and straight out of casuals. Again, just matching ultimate for ultimate, not really allowing anybody to gain significant pressure over each other currently. Using ultimates to maintain momentum where possible. Megiddo does use Assert Dominance. About to get stunned out, steps out of the range, still in Assert Dominance, not taking any damage. Could use Shoulder Bash to close the distance onto Cassie, but is actually able to fire across all that range. Pick up a couple of easy kills to the team and able to force their opponents back. 30 seconds remaining, says Bruce Buffer. 2-1 is the scoreboard so far. 25 seconds now. Straight out of casuals have the opportunity to go for conversion. And extend that to a 3-2 scoreline. Or excuse me, 3-2 scoreline straight out of casuals defense successfully. Blazing Hussars are trying to match that and equalize with conversion. quite far away, but oh, Zexlos sees the opportunity, dives straight on in, keeps themselves hyper-mobile. K-Konas answers back with one single kill onto them as Barak floats across the map, but all the while, Blazing Azars forced through with that tanky frontline lineup. Dyla moves into position. Hexafire now ready. Could go for the unbelievable style Hexafire conversion if they wanted to. Grafis is throwing out some zone. Kill from K-Konas comes through onto the Baku. Up into the air goes Dyla, and Hexafire is activated. A little bit too late there, but the conversion already goes through. No Hexafire kept in the tank. Dyla just pushes it through as nobody's able to contest. Blazing Azars tie things up 2-2 at 9 minutes and 17 seconds in. We're a tied game, baby. We're all even on the scoreboard. Net worth chart after that fight sitting very even, but Zexlos on Cassie underperforming here. Low down on the net worth charts. Only able to get a Cauterized 2 online, whereas Dyla and Kamika sitting on Cauterized 3 for Blazing Azars are able to provide anti-heal for their team at least. On the side of Straight Outta Casuals. No Cauterized 3 just yet. It's early itemization into Resilience for King D Devil. Diced Apples, of course, already sitting on the Kronos 2, the priority item for the support, and Double Wrecker. We're about even in terms of offensive itemization. It comes down to the plays. Blazing Azars do have the ultimates in hand this time. Hexafire is again, of course, ready. Kamiko taking a lot of poke early from Shaolin is forced out of the fight. Impaler Arrow has been channeled. Shaolin looking for Cassie. Not impale into the wall. Misses the stun there. Zexlos stays alive, but is cleaned up by a second follow-up kill from K-Konas. But oh, out comes Dread Serpent in combination with Hexafire. Surely Shaolin will fall here, and they do to Kamika. But Diced Apples is able to close out a kill onto Dyla. And what we saw Blazing Azars taking advantage with their ultimates in that push. Now Straight Outta Casuals are able to do so without the utilization of their own ultimates and are sitting on Dome Shield, sitting on Heat Haze still as K-Konas comes out of base and King D Devil sets up on the aggressive zone, looking to force out all enemies who might be coming in on the respawns right now. Long range shot into Grafis. Hits him with a slug. Froglander glows unstoppable. This is devastating for Blazing Azars. The Straight Outta Casuals rises upwards of 90% on the objective. Kamika unable to find a way in, has met their match. Dyla knows that there's no use in trying to get up and over to him. Too little, too late. Straight Outta Casuals capture the third objective in this fight and now lead the scoreline 3-2. 2 minutes and 20 seconds on this payload push. Ultimates charging rapidly for Straight Outta Casuals. A lot of offensive zone coming through, a lot of aggressive play. I don't want to see Straight Outta Casuals overcommit with their ultimates just yet though. Okay, Konas finds a double kill, for example. King D Devil moves towards the backline where they set up previously. What I'd love to see here specifically is, first of all, Froglander stay alive, but just let the payload get close without burning ultimates. Then find the opportunity to really kick it through, using all those ultimates which you have been keeping in hand by keeping your opponents trapped in their base, like Grafis, who walks straight into the Dome Shield, takes flamethrower turret damage, and gets sent back to base. Payload rounds the 70% mark, the 75% mark, getting closer and closer to conversion. Midnight is available for Maeve if she elects to use it. Scout can be used by Cassie to counter, so either Midnight or potentially the Heat Haze wants to be used here to bait out Scout so the other one is effective. Dyla comes on in, impaled straight into danger, soaks the through time and space, but Immortal keeps him alive briefly, but K-Konas is unmitigated on the backliner of this fight. Slays Grafis, looks for a double kill as Dyla takes a lot of focus fire and soaks are planted. Froglander picks up a double kill of their own. The back who contest momentarily, but it just doesn't matter. Straight Outta Casuals push the payload through for the 4-2 victory and claim the first game of the final set today. And after that instance of great play, folks, let's take a look at our in-game scoreboard right now and find out exactly how the stats look. K-Konas passively playing Shaolin, not going over-aggressive in a lot of situations where they knew they would be met by a Cassie or a Fernando who would be able to run rings around them with mobility or just raw beefiness and a big shield. And I dig that. Really good play by K-Konas. Phenomenal work by King D Devil with their zoning positioning as well throughout the duration of that game. That really stood out to me throughout the entire duration. The fact that, okay, King D Devil is taken as your sort of supplementary frontline, your defensive frontline who's meant to be holding angles. Not necessarily the objective, as that, of course, goes through to Diced Apples. 165 seconds spent playing that payload and sitting on the objective point. Whilst Blazing Azars looked strong during their comeback, it wasn't enough to beat out Straight Outta Casuals, who certainly seem to be developing more of a professional playstyle as time goes by. With that in mind, folks, back to the map draft for now. Straight Outta Casuals victory in map number 1. Map number 2, coming up next, will be Bright Marsh. We're aware of a few frame drop issues during the stream, so what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go and restart my broadcasting software, make sure that everything is running hunky-dory for you. Hopefully you'll have some smooth gameplay for the final game or set of today. Finals set, of course, map number 2 being Bright Marsh, map number 3 still yet to be decided. And we'll see if we can get things rolling for you. So please do stay tuned. I'll let you know in Twitch chat when we are back and live. Hopefully that fixes the issue, and hopefully you'll be able to have smooth gameplay throughout the race and the duration of today's stream. Oh, and TBD means to be decided. Back in just a moment. Welcome back then, champions. Hopefully FPS issues have been resolved for the duration of this stream. There is one quick fix I can make between our final bit of gameplay. If not, but we'll find that out in just a moment, as we are of course ready for the champion draft of map number 2, which will be played on Bright Marsh here today. With that in mind, straight out of casuals, strong performance in game number 1, can Blazing Hussars mount a comeback? Or is this the last we'll be seeing of them, and will straight out of casuals really graduate atop the class with professional play? Maybe in the scope of their future possibilities in a 2-0 sweep. It all starts here, and it all starts now. Map draft is, of course, on your screens then. Coming through straight out of casuals. They have first ban. Take Makoa immediately off the field. Blazing Hussars, how will they respond? Picking with the Torvald Makoa bans here, so not dealing with the Mave, which might have been a problem for them last game. They seem to provide some disruption. Mave is first pick again for straight out of casuals. Blazing Hussars quickly respond with Ruckus and Bomb King. So Ruckus, not the problem apparently. Getting their AoE damage online early. It's a bit of a repeat of last game, folks. Ash comes through as well. He's seeing a salty run back by any chance? Is that what I'm watching right now? Surely not. Surely this has to be different. But it is Ash and Barrick. The full... Oh, okay. Blazing Hussars can't let me have my fun. They choose Inara this time around. They're not going with the Fernando again. Nope, they want the denial that Treacherous Ground can potentially provide, as well as the lock-off from Impasse on this map. Drafting Maldamba, though, still falls in line. Janos has been picked up, and Drogo's this time instead of Charlene for straight out of casuals. We are seeing some difference. Last pick from Blazing Hussars to round up the lineup is going to be. Direct damage is necessary. Cassie, no, and Droxus this time. So going for some aerial counter towards the Drogos. I like this. Could pay off big for them, but does Blazing Hussars have a player on their team who plays Androxus to the same degree that we see some of our PPL players go? No Scosis on the table, one of the players in the sort of mid to high tier community tournaments, which is really known for that play. It'll be interesting to see how this one all plays out, folks. Once again, we have 2 minutes on our timer before we get into game. Let me know your predictions. Let me know if you think that straight out of casuals make it in 2-0, or will Blazing Hussars be able to pull themselves back into the set? Once again, short break, and we're about to find out.
I'm talking like a machine. I know exactly what I want, I know exactly what I need, but do you get it?
Beginning of the end, potentially, for Straight Outta Casuals and Blazing Huzzahs. Map number 2 of Brightmarsh at the ESL Go4 Europe Cup number 25 finals is now underway. We'll see exactly how it's going to break down. Of course, Straight Outta Casuals is actually up 1 game. That scoreline is incorrect, so please do remember that. It's do or die, Blazing Huzzahs. Breaking down the legendary choices, Straight Outta Casuals are led by Luminary Genos. The Diced Apples, Keikonas on Wormjets, Drogos, King D, Devil on Tinker and Barrack, Megiddo with Battering Ram Ash and Frog Blender, Artful Dodge and Maeve with a record pickup. Grafis on Chain Reaction, Bomb King will be coming in for Blazing Huzzahs. Dyla on Mother's Grace, Inara, Kamika on Godslayer, Androxus, Spirit's Chosen, Maldama for the Baku, Zexlos, Aerial Assault, Ruckus. Initially to the objective, it's actually Megiddo diving to contest versus Inara, which is unusual because typically you see Ash go to the enemy backline. Kamika comes in looking for blood as well. You see that Mastery skin on your screen right there. Tries to find some damage towards the enemies. A chip poke, but nothing really picked up so far. Reversal is used. Kamika is able to stay out of danger. Keikonas, though, picks up first blood for Straight Outta Casuals. Fire Spits come through towards the peripheral, around the peripheral of this map. Kamika looks a full-on salvo, and oh, very close to dying. The Baku could be finished off by the Fire Spit here, but no, that's just not enough damage. 69% of Blazing Huzzahs. SOC trying to come back into this, but will they be able to? Fire Spit gonna connect on the Bomb King, but Inara is still holding strong on the objective. Dyla seeming to have a fantastic mastery of this. Inara goes ahead and places down their Water's Field. Is able to look for some damage towards Ash here, gets the body block coming through as well. Megiddo surely to fall here if one more shot succession connects from Dyla. Indeed it does. Now they turn their attention towards Barrack, locking off one entrance in towards this objective. Overtime is ticking. Frog Blender is tracked down after resetting the overtime a couple of times, but the objective is still in contest. This is not the end of the fight right now. Maldamba throws out Dread 7, Blazing Huzzahs perishes very shortly afterwards. SOC have the opportunity to come back in here. Dragon Punch is ready. Keikonas finds a double kill as they slay Kamika as well, taking out their natural enemy, and is able to get a third kill in a row off the back of a long-range rocket onto Grafis. 99% of Blazing Huzzahs. SOC have come in with a comeback. Now look to hold their opponents at bay. Spit will do good work of that. Inara uses Seismic Crash to try and open the opportunity for Keikonas to get in, and Droxus does. A Cursed Arm is ready. Gonna activate it here, but shut down in midair as Keikonas is able to get the slay. Up and over goes Keikonas. 5 in a row. SOC get the capture as a Rampage comes through. They have the opportunity to push the payload through for an early conversion here in game number 2. Blazing Huzzahs had such an advantage going into that fight, and they gave it all up. SOC dismantled them. Now continuing, SOC doing what they do best, continuing to push their advantage. Gotta watch out for Inara coming through here. Fire Spit will connect. Tyler rocking out with Mother's Grace. Very tanky here. Keikona's gonna take position around the peripheral of this map. Very tricky positioning for them. They can come in behind their opponents and potentially get a salvo Fire Spit combo kill. Follow along with them as they spy an opportunity. Bomb King very low. There's the Fire Spit. There's the salvo. Grafis goes down. Keikonas continues their streak. Wormjets keeps them nimble. Ruckus tries to move around with Aerial Assault, but King D Devil has their number. They get shut down. 840 health remaining. Still not afraid of Brawl. Now Keikonas gets healed up, and they're on a 7 streak. Unstoppable. Frog Blender gets another kill. On a Rampage themselves. 12 streak for the Maeve. And the damage just continues to follow through. Frog Blender looks for it, and the conversion rolls through. Ruckus went too high up into the air. Oh, poor Icarus tried to touch the sky, tried to touch the sun, but too close. Was honestly just too far away from the objective. Let it get pushed through for free. So, need to be more on the ball there, Ruckus. Exlos, known for their Cassie play, not having quite as much success on Ruckus so far. SOC now up in offensive itemization. Tier 2 Cauterize is online for Dyla, at least having a lot of objective time from the previous game, but will it be enough? Looking at the healing stats here, Maldamba doing a lot of work for Blazing Huzzahs, and of course it is Luminary Genos that Diced Apples is running. But on the damage charts, it is all about SOC here. No sign of anybody catching up, with the exception maybe of Kamika, who might start to accelerate as their damage gets online if they can find a good couple of kills. Looking pretty abysmal for Blazing Huzzahs right now. Maybe Hexafire will be the difference maker. Maybe King Bomb as well. Grafis sets up in the peripheral, tries to throw out sticky bombs towards their opponents, lands a lot of damage onto Megiddo, who is being forced out of the issue for the time being. Good play so far, but again, will it be enough? Dragon Punch comes through from K-Konas, looking for Inara, slays them for a 9 streak, goes Savage, Fire Spit, not enough to clean up Grafis though, but will there be follow-up from Froglander, who's looking for the kills on Maeve? Hunker down, says Barrett, King D Devil staying alive, Froglander finds one, tries to get a second one, big reversal comes through, but straight into the dome shield goes Zexlos, and gets dismantled and burned to a crisp by all that incoming damage from the flamethrower turret. Poor play and positioning from Zexlos right there, should have held off the gas for just a second and waited for Inara to come back through, and Inara gets dismantled like a broken up Mikano set right now. Straight of the casuals show no sign of giving this objective up. Easy capture, 3-0, 5 minutes and 41 seconds. 8 streak for Diced Apples as well. Let's take a look at the KDAs real fast, and Frogblender and Diced Apples actually yet to die a single time on this team. Blazing Azaz, I don't know what they're doing. I legitimately don't. They're just not able to find kill potential anywhere. It's really good defensive play by SOC, and it's really good offensive play by SOC as well, but Blazing Azaz have got to be doing better than this if they want to be able to get into the Go4 Cup finals. We'll ask ourselves if maybe there's an issue with, you know, like Kamika not being as familiar on Androxus. Maybe he's not playing from up close like he needs to be able to get the burst damage off, which is what Androxus really excels at with changes to their rate of fire recently. Gets a lot of shots connecting, so you can see that the aim is certainly there. Has the opportunity to go big with an accursed arm, but reversal is thrown up, 1300 damage to K-Konas. Looks for them, doesn't find the Joker, doesn't know where they've gone, and K-Konas gets the trade with Froglander. Should have been an easy kill with the panic reversal, the panic accursed arm in that situation. Shouldn't have come out. Waste of an ultimate. Advantage going through once again to SOC. We start this conversion up, rolling once more. Beautiful fire spit hover by K-Konas as well there. Froglander notices Androxus from the outside of this map, forced into reversal. Oh, Diced Apple finds the damage from behind reversal to get the slay as well. Froglander continues this push. King D Devil, after that very narrow brush with death, is healing back up again. Dome Shield is ready. Could dive straight into the back line here. Will probably save it for a second, but no, actually use it to zone out Inara, who ends up taking a lot of poke. Midnight as well activated by Maeve, and with no scout to be able to reveal them. Oh, Inara takes a massive amount of damage thanks to K-Kona's fire spit as well. King Bomb is used to eliminate Megiddo, but Grafis quickly perishes as in comes Dragon Punch from K-Kona's. Maeve looks for the damage up onto the high ground as well. Payload moving further and further towards conversion. Nobody in there to contest. Zexlos in the last second can find the Hexafire to at least buy some time and space. Respawn proximity advantage does allow Blazing Azaz to get back to the objective, and King D Devil goes down for a double kill to Zexlos. Wall from Inara. Buys some space, buys some time as well. Could this be the beginning of a turnaround? Blazing Azaz have all 5 members available, and it is currently only 15 seconds left on this payload push. So close, straight out of casuals are being forced back. Their health too low. Can anybody close the gap in time? In comes Megiddo. Shoulder bash will be the saving grace, but it might be too little too late. The dismounts have come through. Megiddo gets actually dismounted by Watersfield as well. They can't get over the obstacles in time. Blazing Azaz do manage to defend successfully. For the first time this game, they have got themselves on the board, and there is a chance at a comeback here. But it is looking dire, and it is looking desperate, champions. It is looking relatively dangerous. It's also looking like we have slightly more stable FPS as well, which is good. So hopefully having those issues resolved, no further problems in the coming weeks. Regardless, straight out of casuals, in position to move in for one additional capture win to take this entire series. Blazing Azaz, they've got to go for the full-on comeback. They've got to go for the reverse sweep within this game. They're down on offensive itemization. Kamika only sitting on cauterized 2 there. Net worth relatively low for Androxus. Bottom of the charts, actually much lower than they should be, not having the impact that the Godslayer needs to right now. So it's on Kamika that I'm looking to really step things up this time around, but immediately reduced to 400 health. The incoming burst from SOC is too much to deal with. Frogblender found the angle to throw out daggers towards the incoming enemies, and now activates Midnight, potentially going in with Proud to look for a kill onto the back line. Looks for it, finds Maldamba isolated, won't dive in with Pounce just yet, closes the gap, resets their cooldowns, but does get stunned out and may perish. But no, Bomb King too late on the trigger pull there, doesn't get the kill, and Frogblender is allowed to stay alive for free. In comes K-Konas, big salvo connects, Fire Spit does not, and Bomb King stays alive, but the incoming damage from Frogblender and Drogo's combined is too much for Ruckus to deal with. Dialer is isolated, SOC get a free capture. Folks, that's the game. SOC take it all in the final game of this set. Game number 2 of the day, of the finals. And looking at the scoreboard, one-sided is how it went. Lowest deaths in game on both Maeve and Genos. 11-1 and 13 on Frog Blender. We saw equivalent damage come through, you know, for in a couple of players. We saw consistent damage at least come through. 43k, 42k, 42k, 51k for members of Blazing Azars, but I mean 60,000 from Frog Blender, 73 from Keikona's, 74,000 the highest in game from Barrick. King D Devil proving their worth here. There just was no answer. There was no match of aggression to aggression. There was no suitable defensive play to be able to bait specific champions like Maeve or Drogoz into overextending, capitalize, and collapse. Blazing Azars didn't have a plan, it seemed, going into this. Apart from, well, we'll just try and meet them head-to-head and frag. And I would like to have seen some difference from them during this game. Hopefully they're able to pick that up in future weeks, though. And that does actually bring us to a close for the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup for this week, folks. With that in mind, you can see on your screen right there, the shiny winner name is none other than Straight Outta Casuals. They win the big piece of the cash prize pool pie, the first Open Qualifier Cup for the month of October in this circuit. Of course, if you're interested in getting yourselves involved with competitive Paladins play, then look no further than things like the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. You can sign up and get involved by visiting esl.pm/Paladins ESL. You can also check out our past Cups history if you're interested in seeing how any of the previous ones went, as well as checking out the VODs on our Twitch channel. As well, if you're also interested in more avenues with potentially a more lucrative financial reward at the end of them, for you to get involved with Paladins competitive play, look no further than the Paladins Global Series. It's a big community tournament spanning across multiple different regions, so regardless of where you are in the world, there's always a competition for you to play. It's entirely open bracket, and we actually have Europe and North America during Phase 3, the current phase of this competition, qualifying for a potential spot at HRX and the Paladins World Championships coming in January of 2018. So really exciting stuff going on there. If you're interested in getting involved with the Paladins Global Series, visit www.paladinsworld.com. You can find all of our announcement articles there, how to get involved, the Paladins Global Series Facebook group through which everything is organized, and our Discord server through which the tournament is administrated. That does bring things, of course, to a close for today's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, folks. My name has been Hi-Rez Vox. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you for bearing with us through a few technical difficulties, which hopefully will be resolved for next week, and we'll have nothing but smooth gameplay the entire way through, unless at the potato FPS. If you do have any questions about the ESL Go4Paladins Cup, please don't hesitate to shoot them towards me on Twitter at HiResVox. I would also like to just raise your attention to the fact that we do have a clean feed running for this Go4 Cup broadcast every week. You can find that on twitch.tv/Paladins_Raw. So if you've ever been interested in getting involved in Paladins commentary, there's a resource there to make it as easy and as clean and as simple as possible for you, without having to worry about spectating and observing yourself. Once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Have a fantastic Friday. Coming up next, who will be hosted by Paladins Game, is the one, the only, I think the rival golden voice of Twitch, Faye Razzle. I'll see you back again next week for more ESL Go4 Cup action. Oh, don't forget, by the way, really important, Paladins Premier League, I always say that wrong, it's not, Paladins Premier League, that's it, PPL, I'm just going to call it PPL from this point onwards. I'll have a prediction video coming out in just a second. Later today, you can check out some of the other commentator picks and predictions, of course, on their various YouTube channels, but if you're interested in watching that, make sure you go to facebook.com/PaladinsGame/live on Saturday and Sunday starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. See the top 10 teams within the European and North American regions compete in a round-robin format. Actually win some VIP points off those picks as well, so make sure you check that out. Otherwise, this is actually Vox signing off for good this time. I will see you all back again next week.